What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Low Expectations podcast. I'm here with my co-host Steve and our guest today, Diablo.
What's up, man? Thanks for
Diablo,
having me.
welcome.
How you doing?
How you been?
I've been good, man. Life's awesome. Can't complain. Excited.
Yeah. So, we'll just jump right into it. You're a producer, DJ. Tell us where you came from. There's not a lot of interviews of you online and stuff like that. So, there's a couple kind of random
I was
little
going to
things.
ask, is that on purpose?
I do think interviews sometimes take away from the artistry.
That was my takeaway when I tried to look up your name on YouTube. I was like, yo, there's literally like 4 pieces of talking content of him at all. I was like, that's crazy.
and all of those were kind of before I even it was kind of just like I was kind of not forced to do those interviews, but they're like, yo, do this because it's good for you. But I probably wouldn't even have done those interviews back then in like hindsight, just because I do think there's something about just like creating music and putting it out there and letting it resonate, not explaining it, then kind of like going really into the artist and I don't know.
That's what art is
Yeah.
people's interpretation of what you make. You don't want to force people like, you should listen to this song and take away this from it. It's like, no, what do you take? I get it. But that's what I was asking him. I was like, this guy's pretty elusive. Is this on purpose or what?
I do like some of the podcasts people do where like there's this guy who just interviewed like tons of amazing people, like spiritual gurus. Like he just did one with Kim K. He interviewed the guy who started, I think, Aloe, and I forgot his name, but he shout out that guy. He does a really cool podcast, and I do like I listen to a lot of podcasts myself. If I'm not reading, I'm listening to a podcast most of the time.
You've done some vlog. You've been in some of my vlogs. We did some vlogs back in the No Jumper days too, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So there is content of you like that. That I feel like those are kind of a little bit more. Interviews are cool and podcasts are cool, but doing like the vlogs is like a personal, just seeing how you act and interact with people, and just like people like that shit a lot too. So that's like you do have some stuff, and you just being you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is interestingly enough, is because I just didn't want to launch Diablo yet. When I launched the project Diablo, it was always Diablo the artist, and I had a whole vision for it, but the universe had its own kind of like vision and wanted to, some other genres of projects I was working on took off, and then it kind of exploded in that direction, and I was like, all right, let's take this ride, and we'll change it up whenever the time.
It has been kind of like like a wild ride for you. Like you started doing one thing, and like then you've gone in so many different directions since I first met you. I was showing someone some pictures like when I first started shooting like rappers on the film with film photos and stuff like that. And like you're in like my first like 2 rolls of film. You know what I mean? Like when I started doing that, and like someone was like, "Wow," and that was like 2018, and I knew you before that. And they're like, "Oh, you've known Diablo that long?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've known him for a long ass time." You know what I mean? Like we were doing this shit way in the early days. I mean, you were with Pump and everybody. You were Pump's DJ, and then you're a producer and stuff like that. But like, how did all right? So you're from Florida, but you're from Ecuador, right? Ecuador.
So I was born and raised in Guayaquil, Ecuador, in South America. And then my family migrated to Florida, I think around the age of 5. And then I grew up in South Florida, West Palm Beach, 561. Shout out home city. And I went to school there. I did performing arts school at Dreyfus School of the Arts. I was doing mixed media, digital media, a little bit of music, and then I was like, hey, 10th grade, I was like, I already knew since I think I was probably 6 years old, 10. Music was always like a big thing in my life, and at a very young age, like I think at like 10, 11, 12, I was like, oh, like I'm gonna be a musician, like I'm gonna be a DJ, like I'm gonna be a music producer. I'm gonna play stadiums. I'm gonna do shows. That's what I like. And
Yeah.
I think knowing your one true passion or your one true superpower, I think mine is bringing people together, whether that's in music and real life and globally and, you know, culturally. That is my end all be all game.
Yeah, you do. You're really good at that. You have a huge network, and we'll get into that in a little bit later, but like you have a huge network. You're really good at bringing people together and, just connecting the dots for a lot of people and stuff like that. But how did the music thing start? Like, how did it start as a career? How did you was Pump your first like thing, or were you?
So the music career, if we get into the beginning of it, I had tons of aliases way before, man. Like, when I first started, I had my first group. I started a group. I was like, all right, I was seeing DJs were doing duos. So in high school, I started a group called Internet Astronauts with just one of my friends he was a great producer, Alessio, sorry. And we had a group, and I was like, man, I got us to open for ChrisLongFilms, which at the time was like a big DJ. And then we did our show, and then I was like, man, this is awesome. I could do this. But his headspace, I think, was in a different frequency than mine.
Yeah.
And he was very much like, it's so weird. I feel like I matured differently than a lot of people, like business-wise. He was like, oh, my girlfriend, like, she doesn't want me to like talk to the fans or like interact with the girls in the crowd. I'm like, dude, we're about to be superstars. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta. What do you mean you can't talk to? You gotta talk
Part
to.
of
You
the
gotta.
job.
Yeah.
You gotta talk to the fan. And I think not. It's not for everyone to be a public artist. Like, I think he was happy creating music and doing his thing, and that's when I realized, okay, like, let's do this for real. And I started the Diablo alias and project around 2015, maybe before, when I was in high school, right after high school, and it was always like Diablo the artist.
I saw one of the interviews. I thought your grandma or someone gave you the name Diablo.
So wait, it's so crazy that you say that, because it's all destiny. Everything was planned out for me. Everything was just put in line. My grandma nicknamed me that when I was a kid because I would run around the house and just like throw shit around and like break stuff, and it was kind of like a Tasmanian devil. Like, in Spanish, it means like little devil. It doesn't, people are always like, oh, like, did you know your name means like the devil? I'm like, yeah.
Like, you're like, everybody assumes like, all right, he does music, he's in like the entertainment industry. Diablo, he's a Satan worshiper, fucking Illuminati shit, right? Like,
I think it's so funny because then people get to know me and they're like, it's a double entendre. It's like funny. Like, you get to know me.
I mean,
and-
Little Devil. I mean, knowing you now in this many years, yes, you kind of are. You're like,
Well,
sometimes you're just fucking all over the place and shit like that, like fucking spazzing out. And like, I can see why she gave you that name.
No,
for real.
yeah, and it's crazy because even early on, before that, it's crazy how it all just aligned. Like, the name with my music and my brand and everything that came from it, and my sub companies under it. Inferno, Foolish Cole. It all just coexisted, and it was never like a moment where I was like, what am I gonna do? It's just, I always knew that it was meant to be and to do that, and
Yeah.
it was pretty cool.
I was gonna ask. One of the videos on YouTube is called Diablo Exposed. You think anybody like looking up for conspiracies is just clicking on that? Like, yo, he's the devil. Like,
I think I filmed that interview.
that's what I thought.
did.
Yeah.
I did that.
Shout out.
I filmed it.
I think that was a
It was a no jumper thing.
no
yeah.
jumper interview.
Yeah.
I always thought it was a funny caption because I was
I
like,
thought it was genius. I was like, this is
that's a
great.
good caption.
Yeah.
And actually, I got a lot of like, a lot of people would come up to me because it No Jumper actually reached a very big Hispanic audience, which was really cool because I'm Hispanic, I'm Ecuadorian, and I'm always trying to empower Latinos and just Hispanic people and just all of us as a family. And but at the time, I felt like I probably I shouldn't have done interviews at that time because I was so young. I didn't understand life and now looking back at it, I'm like, oh man.
Everybody does it. Everybody gets
Usually we
online.
look back on stuff and it's cringe, but I thought your stuff wasn't cringe really.
Yeah, I
was
don't
like,
think
oh,
you really had.
yeah,
You know,
I think you uphold yourself.
I mean, we all
pretty
go
good,
through
you
some
know?
shit, and you talked about that and some of the shit. Everybody goes through shit, and like, I think, and that's something like in this podcast too. Like, I think we really haven't gotten there yet, but like talking about stuff like that, like everybody goes through shit. Like I go through shit. I'm still going through shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody has fucking mental health issues, and like especially doing like this shit, it's fucking hard. We're artists. Like
Yeah.
shit is hard. Like sometimes we're up and sometimes we're not fucking up at all. We're fucking down. And then sometimes you're just dealing with shit, and like mentally it fucking really can take a fucking toll on you and shit. Like
100%.
So it's and like but you still being, doing this after so many years, and like a lot of the people that we were doing this with in the beginning like aren't. There's not a lot, you know what I mean? There's still a lot that are around, but like there's still a lot of people that aren't around. One that like, the demons definitely beat them, you know what I mean? And like maybe they're not here with us anymore, or like maybe they just chose a different life path, or they just couldn't handle it and stuff. And like it's really good to see you, like 2016 when I met you, and now 2023, like you're still doing it. And like there was a big time I think, we probably didn't see each other. We were always been friends, but probably didn't hang out and see each other for a while. But this past year we've been hanging out a lot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And doing a lot of shit together, and I'm glad, like, and I like to see what you're doing now. It's different what you were doing then, but you're still killing it. And I think you're now you're bigger and better than you ever were, you know what I mean? And a lot more mature. You're older. You went through some of the tough times and kind of like made it through those tough times. So that's hard. And it's like, that's, that goes to show like, you can do it. And as long as you like, just, keep your fucking, you got to keep your head on fucking straight. And like, sometimes you might lose it for a little while, but like you got that shit back and you're like still going stronger than ever. You know what I mean? So
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Receive for sure. I think I just had so many, breakthroughs throughout life, and I think what really doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
yeah.
And every bad thing that happens to you that doesn't kill you, you can learn a lesson on. And it's really, if you look at every bad thing that happened to you, you could really see it as a blessing because of what you can learn from it, And I think that there was a point in my life that I was very spiritual when I was young, and then unfortunately when the music I was working on, when I was producing for Wi-Fi's Funeral, the first hip hop artist that I ever made music for, and then Smoke Perp, and then Little Pump, and then so on, and meeting XXXTentacion, and that took me out kind of like of a journey that I was on, but it led me to another journey, which it was a great journey, and I love the experience. And then I got to grow from that journey,
Yeah.
And I think everything happens for a reason. Everything's meant to. I don't question anything that happens, and I'm just here for the ride, I think,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, same. And it's tough. Do you still have like, down moment? Like like today I know you had to do an interview for stuff for Hella Sketchy. You know what I mean? And like that's some hard shit to deal with. Like I know exactly what that's like to do, because I had to do documentary stuff for that. And like you did that today. You did an interview for a documentary for that, and you're here with us tonight, which is like very commendable, because when I had to do my interviews for shit, I was fucked up for weeks. You know what I mean? Like I was just out. Wasn't talking to anybody, wasn't going around, locked in my fucking apartment, like alone type shit. Like, and that shit still gets me. Even yesterday, like me and Brandon, we went to a meeting for this place, and it's like the deep fake people, the one that did the Juice and Corday video. So like, and they were showing us, all the different things, and I'm standing there in front of the camera, and they're putting like different Matthew McConaughey and Chris Pratt and everybody's face on me, like, oh, we have the Juice one. They put it on me, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool. Like, low key,
It triggered.
like I almost started bawling in the middle of the meeting. You know what I mean? I just like held it in, and then Brandon didn't even know too on the way home, like just sitting there listening to music, Brandon's own world, just playing music. Like I don't think he realized I was like in the driver's seat crying like 45 minutes of the ride, like just kept wiping my tears away. Like that shit still hits hard,
Yeah, you know, definitely, you know, my bad. I just try to, you know, 24 hours a day, do my best that I try to do. And with loss is a part of life, and it happens to everybody, and
Yeah.
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Everybody has to go through it, and like,
And it's all, you could either suffer or you can appreciate the time you had with somebody and be so thankful for that time, and then just always just have those memories and learn from them, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's a reason that you're here with those memories to keep them alive and celebrate these people. Definitely doing the Hella Sketchy documentary was tough, but, you know, it was the first time I publicly spoke about his death and overdose and our friendship. And it was, yeah, definitely during the interview, I had to take breaks. I have not. And I was like really not trying to. I was like, I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna be great, positive, and you know, there are a lot of the work that I do, and I encourage a lot of people to do shadow work and learning to see what, you know, like those triggers are. Like, you know, even though you went through it, the worst things happen. You still have triggers that can, you know, you never know,
You
that
never
have
know.
tension build up.
Yeah, you never know, because like
You
I'm,
have to release those.
Yeah.
You have to release it.
I like very like
lot.
it's fine. There's nothing wrong. Like I
Yeah.
tell people all the time, there's nothing wrong being sad. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
like crying if you have to. It's like it's okay to not be okay. You know what I mean? But you just have to like try to get through it. And most of the time I'm good. You know what I mean? It's been a couple years now, and then like I'll be good for a while, but like then just sometimes. You know, we'll play juice music, sing, have a great time. Then sometimes it just, some days it just hits, and then I can't do it. You know what I mean? So it's like it is constantly a battle. You know,
It definitely, you know, and it is. You know, I tell people, they're like, how do you stay positive, and how do you, you know? I think it's a mindset. The last probably 2 years, 2-3 years, you know, I went into sobriety, don't drink, like I haven't vaped in like probably 3 years. And
Don't vape.
the only
Vaping
way
is the worst
the
thing
only way
anyone can
I
do.
was fully, you know, after just, you know, a couple of incidents where one of my great friends passed away, and Cooper, Hella Sketchy, and I felt like it was you know, it was a tragic death for both of them, their family, but it's also, you know, life showing you like, hey, this is gonna be what happens to you or your friends if you keep going in this path, you know. I think your guides, or whatever you want to call them, your angels, your ancestors, they're gonna show you in this reality bad things that could happen to you until you realize it and break out of the loop. And, you know, you have to break the loop and just learn from it all. And then, you know, my goal is to, I try to inspire people to be the best version of themselves, and tell them it's just, you know, like you said, it's one day at a time, you know. You only, and then some days, you know, if I sat here and told you like I'm, you know, I'm perfect, and it's not true. Like there's some days that I'm like, not today. Like today I'm staying home, wrapping myself in the fucking blanket, and I'm watching like tons of anime, like, you know.
I mean, you have to be like that. You have to just get, you know, even, and I am, you know, that was one of the things Juice really taught me, because he was so open with his emotions, and, you know, wasn't scared to share it. And like, not that I ever like really was before, but, you know, I normally just, you know, just keep that shit down, keep it to yourself, and just fucking, you know, just keep moving forward. And I've always been like that, like, just keep moving forward, whatever, bad shit's gonna happen or whatever. But like then sometimes it's like especially after the Juice thing, like after the Juice thing, it made everything that I've ever been through in the past just resurface. And then it's like, that was like, you know, like I've been through a lot of death. I've had a lot of friends die, and like, you know what I mean? Like that's just life. But then that one just, it just sent me over the edge, and it just put me different. And then it just made every trauma in my life come back, and then now that I'm dealing with like shit, you know, because I've done like intense therapy and like all this shit, and like I have to, you know what I mean, like I have like severe PTSD and shit like that, and like acute depression and fucking anxiety and all that shit. So it's like you have to deal with it and learn how to fucking function and maintain it. But like, you know, I tell people this, like, it's okay not to be okay sometimes. It's okay to like, you know, you might have to fucking let go of some obligations. You might need some time to yourself. Like,
Yeah.
even just like, you know, like
Self-care is important.
one of my homies who's a very big artist, you know, you probably figure out who it is, but like him and his girl broke up just recently when he was out here. And, you know, he was in the studio and stuff, but like I could see how hurt he was. I could see it. You know what I mean? I can sense it. I can feel it. And he's in the studio and everyone's still there and everyone's just having a good time like normal. Like I side text him, you know what I mean? The next day I'm like, bro, you know what I mean? Like I know you're hurt and it's okay not to be okay. It's like, it's okay if you have to fucking just take some time for yourself. It's okay to just fucking, you know, maybe not have the homies around, or if the homies are making you feel better, have the homies around. And like, you know, I'm like, take care of your mental health first. You're a big fucking celebrity and shit like that, but you know what I mean? Like your mental health is number one. You're gonna burn out if you don't take care of your brain, for real.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think, you know, we're even, you know, machines that need to be refueled, and we're essentially machines, and we need to take rest and time to ourselves and time alone to reflect. I'm a very big believer that like the smartest people I know spend like 70% of time alone, and they're very successful, but it's not like a super happy life if you choose that path. So you could, you know, 50-50 it, but reflecting a lot and reliving a lot of trauma is the best way to get that out. It's really like,
Yeah.
you have to let it out. Like, you know, whatever pain and root cause, even when you were younger, like your inner child, you have to just let it out, say it out loud as many times and really let it out, and it'll still come back. But now you're like, okay, like it doesn't have as powerful as a charge,
exactly.
you know, like as opposed to like, you know, how you were saying, you know, when Juice passed away, it probably re-triggered all the deaths in your life.
Yeah, everything.
That was similar to my case when Hella Sketchy passed away, or Cooper re-triggered, you know, like when my dad passed away when I was like 13, and other deaths, and you learn a lot. You know, with me, I was like, what is this? Like I go inward and I'm like, what is the root cause of this sadness, depression? And so a lot of inner work is, I think, very important to me. You know, I think music, of course, is my passion. And then my second passion is, you know, spirituality and just learning just the secrets of, you know, what we can do to elevate like humanity's positivity and like the power that comes with it, you know?
Yeah. You're really big on that. I mean, even just us hanging out, you know, the past 4 or 5 months that we've been hanging out again, like you're like, oh, we got to go meditate. We got to go do the fucking, it's cold plunges and fucking all this shit. Like you're on it, and you're like, you actively try to put that on people that you know need it and help your friends. Like, and it's hard because people, like, especially guys, like don't like talking about that shit. They hold a lot of shit in, and like the mentality for a lot, especially in the music industry and like rap industry for sure. It's like, you know, fucking just swallow it and fucking keep it G and keep moving forward. Like, you're not supposed to fucking be like that. But that is the thing Juice taught me, is like, no, just be real about it. Just be like, no, like I still get fucked up. It still fucks up my head, and like there's still days that I'm good, and there's days that I'm just fucking in bed crying all day. And it's like, it just is what it is. You just have to, you can't let it consume you though. You can't let that be your whole life. But it's, you know, you have to fucking deal with it. Meditation. You know, I do like therapy. You know what I mean? Like, I think that has helped me a lot.
Very good.
Just getting stuff out and just finding out about stuff that I didn't know was bothering me. You know what I mean? Like doing the work and doing the therapy. Like, you're like, oh shit.
Therapy is essentially shadow work, what I was talking about,
Yeah.
because it's asking yourself these questions that you might not ask yourself, and like, oh shit, like hearing it. So it's almost like you're talking to yourself. You know, therapy is
it's just good to talk. It's good to talk to people. Like, even if you have friends that like you can sit down and be real with, like, for real, like, you know, Brandon, like I talk about him all the time on the podcast. We're gonna get him on eventually here. Yeah. But like, you know, one of my best friends, and like we'll be sitting, like we'll go out and party and whatever we're doing. And it'll be like 6 o'clock in the morning. We get back to my apartment, and like then we have like the deepest talks and like fucking just like let everything out. You know what I mean? Like it's just good to have that. It's good to have someone to lean on to like know you can trust and like be completely open and vulnerable with, and like you're not gonna get judged for it. You're not gonna get made fun of. You know what I mean? Like it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay to fucking do that, and it's probably better if you just go out and you talk about shit and like. You know, you don't have to tell everybody. You don't want to fucking trauma dump on random people, but you know, like having solid people in your life.
The way I look at it, it's like, imagine like, you know, at the end of it all, you know, like your energy and your spirit, or you know, your source, and it shows you like, yo, like we put you on this earth for 70 winters, and you were supposed to be just yourself, and yourself like unapologetically, like, and you were this whole other person for 50 years, and like what a waste, you know. And it's like, why? At the grand scheme of it all, we're a dent, humanity and the universe, and so it's like you might as well live life to your fullest truth and just have fun, man. Have fun, do good, you know. Everything you put out comes back 3 times fold.
Yeah, I believe in that too. Like, you know, when people talk about like religion and stuff like that,
it's all the same.
It's all the same shit. And it doesn't matter what religion you are or what you believe in, if you believe in it or not. But it's just like
we are
just
all,
being a good person.
We are
like,
all brothers and sisters.
Yeah,
we are all one consciousness. Everything is connected. There's no one's better than anyone else. It's all one, and
no one is better than that. That's something that I have trouble with, because you know people will come up to me and like, oh, you're great, you did that, all the shit you did, and da da da. And I'm like, you know, I want to be like you. I'm like, no, just be you. You know what I mean? Like I don't
see
like
that a lot.
Yeah,
we'll be in the club and we're like, yo, like Chris Long, like like you Chris Long. And he's like, yeah. It's like, I love your work, and I love it.
Doing this podcast with him, it blows my mind. I was like, dude, you have people that like look up to you for real, because we know each other a long time through BMX riding and stuff. And you know, he's been Chris Long, like my I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know, he's always filmed, he's always been the homie. But like seeing like a couple of people be like, nah, dude, I want to work with Chris Long. I'm like, all right, what the fuck? I'm like, that's what's up, yo. Yeah, for real.
Gotta give him his flowers, man. Chris Long's in.
I mean, it's just
forever.
I mean, the thing is, like, we're just all the same. Like, photographer, like, you know, obviously, like, that's who come up to me the most, and just like juice fans. But
we capture. It's the same thing. It's like whether you're capturing a moment, when you're capturing art, creating art by capturing a moment, creating music by capturing an emotion. It's all, the power comes from the emotion and the intention behind it. So anything that it revolves around that is it's just a blessing that we have the ability to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's our passion. It's like, you know how many people go through life to like 50 years old and they're like, oh man, I never did that thing I had a passion for. And now I somehow ended up working at fucking, I don't know, like BMI for 80 years or some boring desk job. Shout out to BMI though. Not, you know, if you like doing that, awesome. But you know, I myself was, you know, I knew what I had passionate. You know, I was in a third world country and I saw TV, I watched TV, and I'm like, I want I want the opportunity for more. And at like 5 years old, I didn't know how that was gonna happen, and then I just detached from it and it manifests itself somehow. And I'm a big believer in that, you know, we are the creator of our own reality. And if we want to live in a happy reality, we can create it. If we want to live in a reality where you're not happy, you will create it. You know, it's you are in control of your life, because the universe, what you perceive, is all through you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And you've had a crazy life, so we gotta talk about it.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm just getting started. I just turned 27, and people are like, "Oh man, like you've been in." Some people come up to me like, "Yo, like you're a legend, like you're killing it." Like also like this and that. I'm like, dude, I'm actually like, I was just testing the waters. Like I'm really just getting started. Like the people that I really look up to and mentor me are like twice my age, and they've put in that 20 something years of work, 30 years of work to where they are now, to be successful and be who they are, the number ones, you know?
I mean, you're saying you're just getting started and you have platinum and gold records. So what can we do now? What is that?
Well, there's always more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you get that and you get to a certain point when people think, oh, you're a legend. But like, as an artist myself, it's just like, you're never satisfied. You're like, no, well, what's next? What am I doing next? And it's like, it doesn't matter about the awards, but like, you just want to like, well, what am I going to do next that's going to like fulfill me and make me happy and like take me to the next level where I want to be, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely at a point where I want to create art as Diablo that is fully resonates with me. And it just, when I make music that as for, like, I do a lot of work for other artists and I collab with a lot of artists. And the reason I am multi-platinum, maybe I think 10 times platinum, I did a record with Diplo, and it was the Morgan Wallen record Heartless, and he was like, hey, just put some do what you're doing with hip hop stuff, put those hip hop drums on this country record. And at the time I'm like, what? Like, all right, did it. King Henry, super great producer, and that record is huge. I see he sends me videos of stadiums of
A country record?
yeah.
That's
of
pretty sick.
Morgan
You know
Wallen
who
and
Morgan Wallen is?
headlining.
He's like a huge
Crazy.
like, country,
One of the
like-
biggest country artists
pop,
ever.
Is he pop country maybe? Like it's just like popular music, but like
Yeah, and
it's country.
and it's I think 7 times platinum. In a year or two, 3 years it'll be diamond. I've worked on projects to be diamond, and that's great. And I'm very grateful for, also Diplo being one of my, I see him as a mentor and just friend. And early on, even when I was developing as a human in the industry, he gave me great advice, and I might not even taken it at the time, and I should have, but it was before, I was really like finding myself again, and that's what I mean. I'm like, I was just getting started, like when Kanye was producing for Jay-Z, people are like, yo, this is it, like this is peak, and
Yeah,
he's like,
you're up,
no,
you know what I mean? Like,
I'm
you're
just
up.
getting started.
Yeah, it's like there's so much
like,
more I
imagine
want
if
to
someone
do.
try to cap you where they're like, yo, like you did it. I'm like, no, like, dude, I'm just getting started. Like, I have 50 winners left, like maybe even more with modern technology. Like, the vision is just so much broader, and it's fun. And I almost giggle when people are like, oh, like, they're like, dude, you're killing it. Like, what, like, I'm like, dude, just wait, just wait, because it's about to get really fun, and I'm really excited and thankful that everything played out the way it did, because it led me to a place to where I'm 100 fully in control of myself, my emotions, my career, who's around me. I get to decide everything in my life. I speak it and it happens, and that's the reality I want to live in.
Yeah,
And definitely a positive one.
yeah. I said this multiple times on the podcast, but like the manifesting shit, I believe it's real. You know what I mean? Like look at where I'm in California now. You know what I mean? Like when I was a little kid, I've always wanted to go to California. I always wanted to live here for some reason. This is before anything. This is before even really like I was even filming or doing pictures and stuff. I just I always used to be obsessed with like going to California, and then now I've been here like 12 and a half
California
years.
really good when we were kids.
Yeah,
But not just that, a very, that's very interesting you say that, because, going back to what I said, when you're a child, that is when you're almost your most powerful.
Yeah.
Because you have not been brainwashed by society, your teachers. No one's telling you can't be an astronaut yet. No one's telling you can't be a rock star.
Yeah.
No one. And
You're not fucking jaded yet on fucking
you're
life.
not
Like
you're not taking all this bad food. Like, you have a pure essence, and that is what I believe when you're almost the most powerful manifester. Like, oh, I want to be in California, I wanted to be in America, I wanted to do music, and as a child, that was so strong, it happened.
yeah.
Like, what are the odds? If there is no odds, it's and then later in life, you get put through school and they tell you, these are your choices. It's a dance. It's like you don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
You could sit still for 30 years and it doesn't matter.
There's no
Like,
timeline, and
no, it just
that's something
it
I tell
doesn't
people all the
matter.
time too. Like, there's no timeline. Like, I always want, like, documenting is just something that I've always liked. And it started because I was, we're BMX riders, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like, and it would just be me and my friends going out riding, and I would just want to take pictures and film, and I just get to relive the moment and stuff like that, and that was so big to me. It's something I always wanted to do. But I didn't go to college till I was 23. You know what I mean? Like, graduated when high school, 18, and I just worked regular jobs. But I was out going out filming every weekend and after work, just going out with my friends, riding bikes, filming, taking photos and stuff like that. And then it was one of my younger friends, or he's like a year or two younger than me, but he was in school for like producing music. So we went to the New England Institute of Art. So it's basically like, filming, photography, music producing, this type of shit. And I was driving him to school one day because he had to go pick something up. And then he just came outside with an application, and he's like, "Here's an application." And he goes, you need to go to school,
Yeah.
like, for real.
That's a
And
good
I was
friend.
like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. And I like, high school, I was a piece of shit. I didn't care about school. I probably skipped half of my fucking, like, time there. I was probably skipping and just fucking not doing shit. But when you find something you're passionate about and, like, you really want to learn, like, when I was in college, like, I loved college. I absolutely loved. I didn't finish college, but I absolutely loved it. It was a really good experience. Could I have learned everything? Like, nowadays, like, you can pretty much learn anything on YouTube and stuff like that, but it was a different experience that, like, I met, like, my professors I became super close with, but that had real work, real life job experience, working on movies, doing documentaries and stuff like that. And then, like, when you learn from somebody doing stuff like that, like, I definitely learned a lot, and, like, in school learned a lot. But yeah, you can find that. If you can find someone that will mentor you, like, out, and, like, I mean, I do it now all the time. Like, Jose's already, a G, but he, like, he said it to me multiple times. Like, I used to watch your shit. It gave me, like, like, inspired me to do and I get that a lot. Like, your shit inspired me to do what I do now, So, like, you have that power in there, but there's no timeline. Like, I didn't go to school till I was 23. I wanted to just ride my BMX bike forever. Like, I wanted to shoot, and I loved documenting, but I never saw it as, like, an actual career, honestly. And I figured out a way. Like, I wasn't good at, like, riding BMX bikes. Like, I was all right, you know what I mean? But, like, I was never gonna be, like, a pro rider where I could go and get sponsored and be like that's my job. But I figured out a way. I'm like, oh, I love taking photos. I'm already doing this, and then it just kind of, like, made sense. Like, oh, well, I can do the job of, like, being, like, a pro rider, not being a, like, actual pro rider, but, like, that whole lifestyle, but just in a different way. I'm not gonna be the one being able to do the crazy tricks, but, like, they need filmers, they need photographers, and, like, there's always ways you can, like, kind of figure out your lane. You know what I mean? So it's like, I've always wanted to do documentary stuff, and so, just because the way I grew up.
Right.
I love music. Music is a huge part of my life. It always has been. It's always been something that I've loved. But I'm not musically talented. I never wanted to be. You know what I mean? Like, I never was to pursue a career in it. But I figured out, like, oh, I can do what I'm passionate about, which is, was a hobby in the beginning, and then I somehow turned it into, like, this is my life. You know what I mean? And then doing it in the music industry, I didn't start shooting rappers until I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, there's no timeline. You just at any time in life, you can just decide, like, I want to do that and just make a life change. It's just hard to do because, like, people are scared of change and, like, making big life changing. Like, I came to California. Like, I worked construction with my family. I was like a union job, right? I was probably making like $1,500+ a week, and then I got offered a job to do BMX stuff in California for $1,500 a month.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I had a serious girlfriend at the time. I think I was with 3 years and shit. My whole family's out there. Everything.
Yeah.
packed I asked my girl, do you want to come? No. I packed my shit up and I just fucking had $800 and I moved to California. And like, that's it. I lived in a house with fucking, fucking 30 people on a fucking like 5-bedroom house or whatever. And it was like, it was kind of hell, but it was like, honestly, some of the best
But look at
times
how
of my
it
life.
paid off. Like,
Exactly.
what I tell people is tap into that inner intuition of, people are always making excuses like, oh, I want to travel the world, but I can't afford it. I can't. It's like, don't even say that. Just do it. Worst case scenario, like whatever. Like, what is the worst case scenario? Now you tried it, and it
You don't
probably
travel,
People don't realize
90% will work. It'll work. Like, risk, reward. There's nothing to really lose. It's all in your head.
And
like
like,
going somewhere with $800. It's like, that's the best type of thing you could do. It's like, it's amazing. Like, most people around the world don't even have the opportunity to leave
where they're from. Yeah. Or they're scared. A lot of people are scared. And it's just like, my mentality was like, well, I can always, move back home if I had to or whatever. I mean, I was out when I was out of my house when I was 16 anyway. You know what I mean? So like, I was already living on my own back, I think I moved to California when I was 27. So, I mean, I was already living on my own, but I was out of my house when I was 16 years old. So I was already like trying to figure it out however I could, like just grinding, doing whatever I had to do just to get by. I wasn't making money from I made money, the BMX stuff. I made money in the beginning, but it was just like, little bit of money. I always had to have something else going on to just to maintain. The BMX thing was great though, because that is it kind of trains you to like live without having money. You know what I mean? And like traveling the world, like I don't pay, like, you know what I mean? Like I've traveled the world on as a job, other people's dimes, whether it was BMX or doing it with rappers. And same with Steve, like he's been around the world too, like just because of our bikes, like, which is crazy to think about, but it's possible to do for anyone.
There's no limitations.
No.
No limitations to life. Just do it on, like Nike. Just do it, man. Like, I'm telling you, there's, you can create your own reality, but you have to just do it. Don't be scared. What is there to be scared of? Like,
well, let's go back to how did you do it? Because we kind of went on a crazy tangent, like in the middle of you talking about you said like you literally said like, oh, I met Smoke Perp, Lil Pump, XXX, all them, but then we went on the tangent. And I think people would want to know more about like, I think I heard like in one of the interviews you said you had a studio, so that's why everybody came and hung out with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what made you get a studio? Most kids ain't getting a studio for themselves,
Dude, it was crazy. I was in high school and I dropped out and I'm like, yo, art school is awesome. It was a blessing to get in. I was like, I met such amazing friends, but I was like you, I met people doing what I wanted to do. And I'm like, I'm going to just shadow them. Like, I'm going to follow them around. What better experience than real life experience? And this was before when we weren't in the age of Aquarius. We didn't have technology. We didn't have Chat GPT. We didn't have every YouTube video in the world to learn every skill in the world. We can do that now. You can learn anything you want, like 90% of any skill online. Or if not, you can meet someone online to teach you.
Yeah.
Back then, it wasn't, there wasn't a lot on music production. There was not on every DAW, and it just. So early on in 10th grade, I was like, yo, like, I'm gonna follow some people, study, shadow them, and earn my stripes. And, I was.
Were these people professional at what they were doing?
Yeah, at the time, some of them, there were some, kept going, some stopped, and it was, some of them became my really good friends and now are really powerful industry players and, billions of streams. And I think, back to your question, having a studio, I was an artist. That's when I started the Diablo project. I was like, yo, like, I have my own crib. I had my job was crazy. Like my first job was at Wendy's. Like, is the most embarrassing thing on earth. Like,
my first job was
too. That's weird. Yeah.
My first job was Dunkin' Donuts. So
was
it's like,
Wendy's in West Palm Beach, Florida, and it lasted, I would say, 3 to 4 days.
Dude, I went 2 weeks and then I never picked up my check. And I went back like 2 months later and I was like, hey, can I get my check for work? And they were like, who are you? Sorry. Sorry, yeah.
Like, nah, son.
Yeah, exactly. It was crazy.
Dude, that and what I mean.
It's all right. Your first job was Wendy's.
First job was
Stop
and
texting.
it's crazy because I always forget about it because it was so short, and I was like, no, like they're trying to indoctrinate me into a system like that makes no sense. Like if I do this, it's gonna slow down my path, and so I'm like, how do I, like what are other options that I could create? And oh, thank you so much.
Of course.
Trying to drink half a gallon a day, but
You're supposed to go full gallon.
yeah, man, I'm not carrying around a full gallon of water. I can't.
hard.
Like,
It's
you
hard.
see how ridiculous this looks?
I know.
A full gallon. I'm
So
good.
I know I have a bigger one too, but I always keep this with me. I gotta fill up multiple times a day. The bigger one is convenient, but it's like too
Gotta
big to
stay
carry
hydrated.
around.
Water changes everything.
Yeah.
You got to drink water. But anyway, at a young age, I was just like, I knew there was ways to. There's always an alternative, and I was like, okay, how do I make money to fund, like my living by myself at a young age of like 18, because my family's, they risk their entire life and to move to a country that they have no family and no connections in, and for me to have a great life and go to school and college and be the first generation immigrant in this land. And I'm like, yeah, I'm dropping out of school and I'm making music. They're like, what the fuck? Like, and
No.
in retrospect, they're like, wow, like they get it now. They got it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course.
they see it now. But like I said, people don't see the vision early on. And then my second job, I got smarter. I was like, where is the money? And it was right across my school. It was in Palm Beach. That's where Donald Trump, all these rich people decide to go and, retire. And so I'm like, all right, like what's the easiest job I can get without experience? And it was start off as a busboy, or I was a food runner for like a 5-star restaurant. I applied to like 5-star restaurants in the island. Excuse me. And like 3 of them called me back, and one actually hired me, and I was like, oh fuck. And it was crazy because I was making a lot more money than you would working at Wendy's or those low vibrational. It's still a system, but it's like you got to work it. And then there was the craziest story was one time I was serving food, and like Mike Tyson, there's a private dinner and Mike Tyson was there, and it was like it was crazy business like meeting. And then I'm like serving food, and I like look over and I give this man his food, and he's like, thank you very much. And I was like, this is Mike Tyson. That's the funniest shit I've ever heard him to speak. I was like, this guy is fucking hilarious. And I was like, dude, I love your show on Adult Swim. It was like about,
Oh yeah, I love that show.
it was about him and like a pigeon or something. I'm like, dude, you're so funny. Like, what are you doing here? What's going on?
Me and Max Lord used to watch that. All the
Shout out
time.
Max Lord. I love Adult Swim. Adult Swim raised me, and it's fun. I love it. Creative outlet, and it was just always. I always looked on how to being open to opportunities to create my reality, and then I was able to afford my own apartment, and then I was able to afford a computer and a Scarlett, and you don't need much. My first gold record was made on equipment that was maybe less than $800, and you could have probably done it cheaper back then. And all it takes is the emotion that you want to do it, and it could come together. And nowadays we live in a world which is awesome. Like with this iPhone and the app Ripple or other apps similar to it, you could make a whole. I have my proteges making full songs on their phones with their, like, you connect the microphone, you can make a whole song. So it evolves, technology evolves, and back then I was just on that mindset, like, yo, let's elevate. Maybe it takes a little bit sometimes it goes faster for some other people.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people go really fast, And but to me, I'm in it for the longevity. I am,
Yeah.
and I've realized that a long time ago. I'm not in it for the quick fame, the 15 minutes. I'm really in it for the long haul of the game.
Well, if you were in it for the quick fame, you'd have a lot more videos on YouTube. That's for sure.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. You'd really be out there just doing the
Yeah.
fucking content creator type
So
shit. You know what I mean?
So you had the studio.
Yeah.
And then you said you made your first gold record with $800. What was that? What was the gold record? Because I'm stupid. I don't really know much. So
So the first gold record, I think it was Boss, and that was with Lil Pump, and we recorded that in my apartment. I was just like everybody lived with their moms. Like everybody was like literally living at their mom's crib.
so
and
you're at the center of the SoundCloud era. Like you're like
they all lived in like other cities too. Like I was in West Palm. Thing is, Florida is you could drive straight from Miami to like Tampa in like 5 hours. So like I was in West Palm, and first hip hop artist I worked with was Wi-Fi Funeral. A friend connected us, and he's like, "Yo, you make hip hop beats?" I was like, "No, like I'm a dance artist. Like I make dance music right now."
oh shit.
And that's the only reason I was good at making beats is because I went into it with the knowledge of already producing dance music. And so he was like, "Yo, can you make songs like this?" And I'm like, "I could try." And then we went in for 50 days on the summer. I made nothing but hip hop beats. And he's like, "No," like, he was really hard on me because he was very selective. He's like, "No, this is garbage. This is garbage." And that it actually really helped me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, cool. Like you work harder when you know that pressure's
Yeah.
on. And I always try to, have people around me that don't gas me up and let me know. And I always try to keep people around me that I trust their taste. It's a very big important
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And then word just spread. People were like, "Yo, like he's got a studio, come through." I had accesses to studios, and people just kept coming through. And then people introduced me to other people, and it just went on from there. And then that one gold song became many gold songs, and then they went platinum, and then they're on the way to diamond.
That's crazy. Having a diamond record, it's crazy.
Well,
What does that technically mean? I'm like
diamond
I
is
said,
10 times platinum, so I haven't reached it yet, but it's coming. It's and it might not be through my Diablo stuff, but just even working on that, I like for sure myself, I'm gonna go diamond on my solo stuff. But I'm like I said, the universe kind of put me in a spot where I was like, "Yo, we need your hands in these people's projects to help elevate them to a better place." And I just went with it, and it was a great experience, and I'm really happy for it. And it led me to meet amazing people like Wi-Fi's Funeral was the first person to introduce me to XXX Tentacion, and I'll never forget just getting my 2 KRKs and my Scarlett and microphone and shoving it in my car, my Kia, whatever red Kia car I had, driving it to Miami and then like literally hydroplaning in the rain because I was going so fast, and I was like, okay, I need to chill. And then I got there and meeting him, and I was like, whoa, like I just met such a profound mind, someone who studied the laws of the universe already and understands music way beyond the capacity that I have at the time. And even on just when we sat down and made a beat, him explaining some music theory to me and emotion, it was like I'll never forget it. And that was really what opened the floodgates. Is XXX Tentacion opened the floodgates for a lot of us artists in Florida. I worked on Members Only 3, or one of the Members Only project album, What's a Bro, with Craig Zen. And he loved that song. They performed it on the tours, and it was so great to see. And it was him evolving into as a person, and him understanding that you have to evolve. And I think that that's the greatest part of life, is getting to evolve. And very unfortunately he didn't get to reach his full potential, and it's very tragic. And we talked here and there, but that was a very important part of my life, was getting to work with him, and seeing one of those rare cases of an artist that I might never see again, you know? And that is, it was very cool, and it was a great experience, and I'm very
And this
thankful
whole time
for
you
it,
were
yeah.
in Florida with them?
Yeah, yeah.
And then what? And then so you went gold, and you're working with everybody. And then when does everybody move out here? Because I remember going to Melrose around the time you were popping.
Yeah.
And it was hectic. I
It's
remember.
crazy.
I'm older than you
Melrose
guys. So
Place, full of, before
well,
TikTokers, it
before
was
you
like
guys started coming
all
around to
musicians,
Melrose,
yeah.
it was dead. And then all of a sudden, that block got hot when Lil Pump was walking around. Everybody was walking around Melrose. I remember it being crazy. So that's what made you guys all move out there, just because you guys started popping, and you're like, "Fuck this, we're going to LA," or
Man, I think I was just on tour. Like I was on tour with just different artists. Like I was DJing for, and I ended up being in LA, and Diplo and Alice in Wonderland hit me up, and they're like, "Hey, we're remixing this one song. Can we get the stems? Come to the studio." And I was like, "What the fuck? Like, yeah, let's do it." And I was like, in that 1 week I was in LA, so much opportunities came because I was in the receiving mode, and like I'm like, yeah, like I want this to be my life. That so much opportunities came, so many doors up. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna stay here, and you grow a lot. I always tell people, leave your home city. Like, don't stay in your home city. You need to leave to grow. You know, as a bird, as a human, you know, you gotta get those wings and fly, and you mature. That's why people are always like, traveling is the most important thing in the world, because you learn the most and you mature the most. And if I stayed in Florida, I would probably either be dead in jail or working a very mundane job and not happy with my life, you know? And I think for a lot of artists, you're going to end up in LA, you're going to end up in Atlanta, you're going to end up in New York, you're going to end up in Miami. These are the hot spots that the music industry, the fashion industry, you know, it all collides into one. LA is a very big hotspot for artists, and I think one of the top, you know, like everybody comes here to meet, you know, you could go to a random house party and it's like, oh shit, like, you know, back in the day, like people would throw house parties and it'd be like Pharrell and Kanye, like just kids wearing backpacks and like, yo, like in this, nobody, we don't know the full effect of these people until people like you who document it. And then 20 years later it comes out, we're like, whoa, like that was going on and like no one knew about it. And like, they're like, that's why, you know, it's like stuff like that.
I
And
swear you all came at the same time, like out to LA. It was like it was all, huh?
Pause.
Oh, sorry, what happened?
a
Oh,
perk
I
pause.
thought you meant pause on the whole thing.
I was making a joke.
Sorry.
Oh, I didn't. You might have to edit that part out.
He's so worried about
I said
editing
perk,
stuff.
a perk break or something.
Oh no.
I really thought that's.
Like straight up for real, I got migraines really bad. I'm just starting to fucking feel it. So
Well, it's from
I'm
being
taking
up for fucking
Yeah, I was up all
24
night
hours.
last night. I was taking Excedrin.
Section is the best.
Yeah.
So you guys all moved out here, and you guys started going crazy, and then you.
I didn't even know if everybody moved down here. I moved down here. I was
Maybe it just looked like it from the outside.
from the outside
looking
in. It also, you know, it looks like everybody's in Atlanta, everybody's in LA, and it's just like boiling parts of when one artist explodes, that opens the doors for the rest of us to come in, and that happens a lot. And it doesn't always happen like every year, you know. I definitely, like, when I came to LA and I was like, whoa, like I gotta come back, and I didn't know how or when, and then sorry.
You're good.
So yeah, like I didn't know how it was gonna happen, and then, you know, I was FaceTiming my friend, who goes by the name Getter, who's super amazing producer, insane DJ, has an alternative project called Tara Reid that does really awesome, and he really took me in, and he was doing what I wanted to do, and he took me in like a big brother, and we lived together, and it was right when Nicoletti moved out, and it's like, yo, Nicoletti moved out, like you can move in, and I was like, all right, like I did, and I learned so much from him, and at the time I was so young, naive, still like I was wearing jewelry and cared about stuff. It was crazy because he was so smart, and his work ethic was so hard, and probably one of the very pivotal people in my life that I met that helped me evolve to the point I am now. And just such a giver, and he gave so much, and people like that, you know, I really respect. And shout out Tanner, man, love that guy. We actually did a podcast together too a couple times, and I was like, he was also ahead of his time, I think, and he's just a great musician, man. And that was a really cool time, because I got to meet like tons of friends. Like it was crazy. Like Rich Brian, like, was one of my really good homies. We were hanging out at the time, and
What was his
and
song that got crazy?
Joji was just coming over all the time, and he wasn't Joji then. He was the pink guy, and
Yeah,
they
I
were
was gonna
making
say,
YouTube videos, and
Yep.
and it was crazy, and seeing how everybody just evolves, like, and how awesome it is when you take that leap and evolve into your full potential. And you see that with Joji, and you see that with people like Diplo, and you see the people that evolve are those who really get it. And they're like, you know, like, whenever you feel like whenever you stop learning, whenever you feel like, yo, I know everything, is when you messed
that's
up.
a
You
dangerous,
messed up.
It is
yeah, that's a
dangerous
dangerous
Like,
game to play.
Yeah, it's like you never want to think like I've learned everything. Like every day you gotta be like, yo, there's something new I could learn. You know?
Of course, I hate people that are like, people know a lot and that's good, but I hate people that like know everything or have that weird mentality. And to me, I'm like, I want to be around people that know more than me, because that's how I learn. Like you never stop learning. I'm learning shit all the time. Like people like, you've been doing photography I'm probably doing it for 20 years. I would say I'm about 15 years as like professional, you know what I mean? Like my job or whatever. And I learn from younger people. Jose teaches me shit. You know what I mean? Like I can't, people like want to be like you and whatever, but it's like you can never stop learning, and you can't be like too prideful, like whatever. I don't care if there's a kid that's 10 years younger than me, like, or even like Juice, like our age difference. Like Juice taught me how to be like a better human. You know what I mean? Like this young kid, a grown ass adult, like he taught me a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And like I'd never want to be the smartest person in the room. I just want to be
I always say that's a big problem. If you're the smartest one in the room, run.
Yeah. Like I like being around people that can teach me stuff and I can learn stuff from. Even if they not directly teach me stuff, but like I'm very observant. You know what I mean? So I watch the way people move. I watch what they do and stuff like that. And it's just like that's how you learn. And it's like you should never stop learning. You like never even try to stop learning. Just try to take in as much shit as you can. And even if like you. We're doing photography stuff, and there's another photographer, and he just does the same thing but a little different. But why does he do it different? Why does that work for you better? You know what I mean? Like, how do you do it? What I just always want to know, learn, and like, because maybe I can take that and use that or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe I can watch people and observe it like, oh, maybe that's what I'm not supposed to do. You know what I mean? When you watch people do some fucked up shit or mess up on something, be like, you're still learning. You know what I mean? You're learning like, okay, I can't ever do that. He fucked up or whatever, so you just want to be you have to be self-aware, and you have to be open and accepting.
Self-aware is a big key. You're saying it right there, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go through life every day not being self-aware, and I'm so blessed to just have that awareness. And like I try to tell everybody and my proteges, and I've had proteges that it didn't work out with, and they got caught up in the sauce. They got lost in the sauce, and
yeah, that happens all the time.
and
A lot of people I work.
And I've gotten lost in the sauce, and that is how I learned. I'm like, whoa, like that, like it.
This is where I fucked up.
And it's being able to step outside of your body, and being able to be like, okay, that is not okay, or we could work on this. And I learn shit every day to this point, like of my mentors and other people. I'm like, okay, that, he went through that, and now I don't have to go through that. And I went through this, now my proteges don't have to go through that.
Yep.
I early on, I didn't have mentors. I was very much seeking, but they weren't there, and I had to learn a lot of stuff on my own, and it sucked.
Yeah, yep.
And it was hard, and no one's saying that it's not going to be hard, but it's worth it, and it was definitely worth it. It's still worth it every day. And it's just good
to befriend people that are always like trying to like strive to make you a better person. You know what I
Always
mean?
surrounding yourself, and people say it like, "Oh, you are who you surround yourself with." There is a science to that goes beyond what I could explain in this podcast, and down to like vibrations and everything. Like you need to really focus of what you let into your aura, into your body, into your mind, the television you watch, and the music you listen to, and the frequencies, and you know you have to really study this stuff because it's very, very real stuff that
the vibration thing too.
Da Vinci knew, everybody knew, the smartest people in the world talk about it, but people try to play it off like it's like hearsay, or it's all very real. Like, so you really have to be careful of what you allow into your area, your space, and be protective of it. Like protect your energy, protect those around you. Like, if one of the people in your group are, it's suppressing you, like try to help it, and if not, it's just like, hey man, different paths. Like, sorry. Like,
that's advice I give to people. Like even some of the people here at this house, and I'm like, I see the way they act. Even just like little dumb shit, like someone walks into the house and they get super excited about that person. I'm like, be careful, like who you waste your energy on. Like, are they giving you that same energy back? You know what I mean? Like, just don't be putting too much energy into people that don't really deserve it. Like, not all people deserve your energy and deserve that. Like, if they're not the type of person that appreciates you and gives you that same kind of energy back, then it's like, why are you pushing so hard to, like, be friends with that person or whatever? It's like you want to be around people that make you better, and make you better not even trying. You know what I mean? Like, they just have better mentality, good head on their shoulders and shit like that. And just I believe in that.
So the mentors, you had Diplo as a mentor, Getter as a mentor. Did we bring up Paris Hilton being your mentor? How did that happen? If we're skipping steps, my bad, but that caught my ear.
We're talking. There's no.
Yeah, that caught my ear.
Paris Hilton, shout out Paris. She was such a big mentor in my life. Still is to this day.
I wore a Von Dutch hat in like the 7th grade because of her. You know what I mean? I was the only guy in school because of,
I don't know, man. It was so weird. I was just, again, it's the universe. We crossed paths. I played at Ultra, and she was one of the most genuinely nicest and smartest people I've ever met, and she was always so inviting. She'd be like, first time I played Ultra and I opened the stage for Skrillex and Boys Noise, I was like, whoa, like this is crazy. And she was at Ultra, and she was always very nice. She's like, hey, like, you're awesome. And later in life, just kept running into each other. And when I went into rehab and got out, she was actually one of the people that reached out to me.
Oh, that's dope.
And invited me to her home, and it was very genuine. And she talked to me about her upbringing and the traumatic stuff she's gone through. Obviously, she's been in the industry since she was a kid, and it put a lot into perspective. And then to this day, I really have so much love for her. That's like my mom. Like, she just had a child, and she has her family now. It's starting a new chapter, and it's even back to the evolving stuff. It's really cool to see how people evolve and what I could learn from kind of what the struggles other people went through, and it was cool. And Diplo as a mentor, and it's really awesome, man. Like, I'm really blessed to have such great people in my life that, and I don't get to see these people all the time, but everybody's so busy, they're doing their thing. But when we do see each other, it's like, we've been hanging out for like a straight month,
Yeah.
And the older you get, the busier it gets, and it's like that. And she was awesome, man. Paris is the coolest human being on earth, man. Early on, even when I would just hang around her, and I think I said like Sliv Manor or something, and she's like, oh, that's cool, I'm gonna name my doghouse that. And it's watching her create now like this word Sliv into a full multi-million-dollar brand. It's like, whoa. And then her thanking me for it at this like movie premiere that she did, and I had no idea to be honest, I didn't even remember I came up with like that word that she used for that the stuff and the branding, and she thanked me, and I was like, "You talking about me?" I'm like, "Is Paris Hilton thanking me?" Like, and all my friends are like in awe, and I'm like, because they didn't really know like that I even really was close to her or hung out with her, and I was just like, "Whoa, this is nuts," and she's really amazing and one of those people like, she mentored me and Tana a lot, and I'm very happy they met because Tana is also one of my greatest friends, and I see her as a mentor as well because people perceive some stuff, but when you get to know the person, you're like, whoa, this person is so smart, this person is so driven, has so much emotion and passion for what they love, and that it rubs off on you. Like if you
Yeah.
hang out around these people, it rubs off on you. And
Yeah.
I got to learn a lot, stuff that you can't learn anywhere in school. Like it's only real life experience you learn,
Yep. Yeah, I believe that. And I'm like, same way, like when people get excited to me or whatever, like, but Jose, he's with me now. Like that's my partner. You know what I mean? Like I consider him my partner now. We've been doing stuff together now, and it's a month. Not that long. He's been helping with the podcast, but now he's like, you do a lot of events and stuff like that, and like he's right there with me. You know what I mean? Like that's someone. And I've gone through people. I've had other kids and that have like the same thing, but then they'll just do something weird, and then I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna bring you around and like have you do some weird stuff or whatever, whether it's just like, not kind of like following the steps and kind of like going around me, or like you're just messing up my bag in a way, because I connect people all the time. I'll introduce anyone to anybody. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. Like if I know someone and I can help someone out, I'm definitely gonna. I see that you do that too. You know what I mean? So I'll do that. But then if you start acting weird, like I'm doing my little production, and then I have a kid helping me. But then if like he goes around me and hits the people up I'm doing this for, and just starts going and pulling up on them for free and go in the studio, like, well, they're not gonna fuck with me anymore. Why would they call me and hire me and my team of people if they can just call the kid that's doing shit with me and he'll just pull up for free and just do it with no questions asked? You know what I mean? That's a weird thing that
we
people
talked about this.
We talked about it, so you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And normally too, that kid is my friend, so I just have to have a talk with them and be like straight up with them. That's not a big deal. But there have been other
some people you can have that talk and they'll be like, oh, I get it. But back to the point, like I've had like my proteges and my students, I've had some that we had that talk and did
usually
not work out.
I'm just like,
and now there's
cut them off.
Completely, no communication.
Not even cut them off. Like I don't hate them. I'm still friends with them. Still talk to them. We'll still text each other. But it's like I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna bring you around anymore. I'm not gonna give you the access that you could have got with me. You know what I mean?
A big thing that I was trying to tell you is people will take and take.
Yeah.
So you have to set boundaries.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
people get really comfortable, and the world is so fast that if you don't set boundaries, you'll be left at zero. And that goes back to protecting your energy, cultivating your energy, not spreading yourself too thin. You have 6 buckets, let's fill that one instead of trying to fill all 6.
Exactly. You got to put your energy into the right place at the right time, and you can do multiple things.
But it's all a lesson. Even that kid or this protege or that person, it didn't work out. It's a lesson to see, like, now my students, they're complete opposite. Like they're like, I see where that went wrong, and now I have a solution to it. And it's all a lesson in life. And maybe that person later in life might see it and be like, oh, I messed up, and now I could, I like I said, I have no hate in my heart towards anybody, because you never want to carry hatred in your heart, because it only hurts you.
Yeah.
You could forgive a person. You don't have to forget. You can forgive and learn those lessons and see the worst things that happen to you and learn a lesson from it. And now it's a positive, which is what I try to tell people they should do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I the same thing. Like not the person I'm talking about, like because that is my actual friend, and I do care, and he's young. You know what I mean? So
I
it's
didn't realize
like,
we were talking about a specific person.
well,
right
he just
now.
knows because we already we had that kind of incident already happen, but it's not
okay.
the first time. This happened a few months ago with someone that I was like, okay, I met him. He's a photographer. I'm like, well, hey, let's hang out.
Yeah.
Come with me. Now I'm taking you to a studio with a major artist. You know what I mean? I'm introducing
Giving
you to
you
people.
access.
I'm giving you the access, like people would kill for just to meet the person. And now we're gonna go to their house,
Yeah.
and you're gonna come chill and hang out with me, like. That is a big deal, you know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah.
and I got to be careful who I bring around too, because like in those situations, because like, just I can't mess my relationship up, and that's like, but I don't want anything for it. I'm like, if I can have someone and teach them, and we can, like, I'm more like, well, we can work together. We can, Jose, like it's only been a few months and like really a few weeks. So we've been doing the podcast is really what he started with, but like, I'm like, now you see him, he's coming to the bar with me, and he's filming your events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm taking him over to some rapper's house. I'm like, come with me. He's not like, we're not even doing anything. I'm like, just come with me, and we're out here just hanging out, sitting around like in the movie theater room, just like chilling, watching movies and hanging out. But you're with like a couple big, pretty big artists right now, and it's like, I only want to help people and to succeed. Honestly, is really what it is. I want, like, if I can help people succeed and do something. And another thing is, like, I've said this before, like photographers, like I have like several group chats with like photographers all over the world and shit like that. And like, if so, we're all like, oh, anyone in New York this weekend? I need a shoot, or there's a job, I can't make it, but does anybody else want it? Like,
Yeah.
it's not a competition. You know what I mean? Like, we can all thrive together, and it's like, why wouldn't, like, I just don't understand, like, why would, if I'm on stage and I see someone I know like down in the pit trying to take photos, but it's like somewhere where I'm like, oh, I have pull here, come up with me and like shoot up here, just stay on the side or whatever, but you're out of the pit. It gives you a little bit more access, a little bit closer. In my mind, I'm like, well, hopefully if I'm ever in that situation, that person's gonna do it for me. You know what I mean? Like,
back to you three times fold.
yeah.
And
If you don't expect it coming back.
I don't.
I think if you expect
I
it
don't.
coming back,
I don't
think
expect
that's
it
when-
like I did it, so you have to do
exactly.
it to me.
Yeah, I
but
think
it's
a lot
like,
of people get it twisted with that. Part,
I'm like,
Yeah.
if it happens and I'm in that position, hopefully their mentality is like, oh no, Chris always helps me out. Let me help him out. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'll be like, yo, can you get me whatever? But like, I don't expect anyone to do
I think a
anything.
lot of
Yeah.
people help out a lot of people with that little. Okay, I got one. I got
You got
notch
one.
For, yeah,
You gotta
all right,
get
you
me
owe
back
one
type
now,
shit,
Like,
yeah.
and it's just that's a silly way to go about things because nothing ever winds up working out for you that way. You know, like,
and in
you
reality,
have
it's
to have
like,
good intention.
I
Intention
just
is
want to
huge.
be a good person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I want to be like, I don't want to be this person that's like, they're just act too good or too cool. Oh, I've been on private jets with major artists and I can do that. Like, that don't mean shit.
Yeah.
Like, it does not mean shit. We're all fucking humans. We're all fucking gonna die. We all shit our fucking pants when we were kids. Like, you know what I mean?
The only
Like,
thing I can say, the big flex is that Paris Hilton is his mentor, though. Not a lot of people
No,
get to
yeah,
say that. He's
exactly.
probably one of five
No, but
people in the
that's-
world that got to say.
and that's
that gets to say
amazing.
that.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's amazing, and it's amazing that he can share that, and it's amazing that whatever he learned, he can pass on to someone else when he's mentoring people.
His proteges. He
Yeah.
keeps talking about the proteges.
Yeah.
I love that you use that word.
Yeah,
The
he does. He
protege.
says it all the time.
I love
And 'cause
it,
I
dude.
know a couple of the kids, and the same thing. Like, I've
Great
had
kids.
I've
Smart kids.
had him pull up this, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, all right, cool. Let me help you out. You know what I mean? I'm out shooting for you, doing these events, and you're out here trying to get me some money or whatever to shoot some stuff. And I'm like, all right, cool. Trippy's in town. Yo, you want to come to the studio with me? You got beats. You got a beat pack. We can, pull up and like let them listen to beats, and like maybe that will work out for you. You know, and maybe that can turn into something that you didn't have access for. And it's like, I don't expect anything in return. It's just like,
Well, you care about him.
Yeah,
So you're
exactly.
Like, yo, you
Yeah.
care about me. I care about you.
Exactly.
Let's make shit
Exactly.
happen. You know, like it's.
I think that's like, that's what people kind of get fucked up. Like out here, especially in LA, like LA's people are fake and slimy. You're right. People are like that. But I've also met amazing people out here. I've
But
made
if
some.
you're not fake and slimy, you get to weed out the fake and slimy ones. That's the huge thing. If you come in fake and slimy, guess what? You're gonna be surrounded by slime.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But if you're a good person, that shit they don't want to deal with you because they're like, I can't bullshit him. I can't. You know what I mean? So you gotta have good intention, bro, and that's a huge thing. Intention is
huge. As
think
long as
also-
your
I think
intentions are like for
The
good.
stigma in LA, like, dude, there's shitty people everywhere.
There's
Yeah, no,
shitty
that's-
people are, but I would say yes. There's probably a big.
Everyone has a goal here. That's it.
That's the thing is like most people from here, and it's not L.A. It's like kind of like the
It's not the
industry
natives.
we're kind of working in, and there's shitty people everywhere. But like I've met the most amazing people that have like done so much for me too. It's just like everybody's here in LA trying to make it. So you're gonna get the people that are like, well, I wanna be an actor, but then I wanna be a rapper or whatever they want to do. I'm not. They're just gonna do what they can and just worry about themselves. And eventually, you just have to. You're right. You just have to weed those people.
in here-
You're
a lot
gonna
of
get
people-
burned. You're gonna experience it. There is a lot of ups and downs
A
out
lot
here.
of people are here
Yeah.
not to make friends. You know what I mean? They don't
Exactly.
care about making friends because they didn't grow up with real friends. You know what I mean? It's
Exactly.
people like us that have real friends and we're not social climbing you. Like, no, I want to be your fucking friend. Yeah, we might be able to help each other, but it's because I actually like you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, so there's people do get it fucked up though about that.
Or you
LA
see
thing,
potential in them. You're like, yo, like, this kid, all he needs is a little bit of help. And it's like, whoa, this kid could go crazy, or this girl could become the greatest producer. It's like,
Well,
that's
some
what I really
people-
try to see. It's like, when I see that little window, I'm like, oh, like, if I could help, like, why not? You know?
Well, some people see potential and they go, keep him away. Like, you know, I
Well,
want to
yeah,
gatekeep
they don't want
away
they don't
from
want
him,
to
you know?
fucking have them like
I've
you know
never been like
overshadow
that.
them. Like, no, I'm
I've-
supposed to be the big
It's
dog.
so
No,
crazy
Exactly.
because when I think that's also one of like the early on gifts I've noticed is like even the kid Leroy when he was 15 FaceTiming me from Australia with like a shaved head, and he's like, man, I love what you guys are doing like in America, and I'm like, dude, he was sending beats, he would send them back the next day, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna be a superstar. And let alone like Kid Leroy is one of the biggest stars out right now. And same thing with a lot of artists. I could, you know, there's some people that that I could see and I could feel their emotion, and I'm like, yo, this kid is going to be a star, or this girl is going to be a star, or this person is going to be a big industry player and impact many, many lives. And I think everybody has this ability, but you have to tune into the frequency of it, you know? And you 100% have it, because you can see the same thing with, you know, with the people that you work with and the people that you work with on video or in studio. It's like, oh, like, you know, like this kid, like with a little bit of work, like, you know, he could skip the 15 years that I had to put in work, and it could even become greater than that. And
yeah, exactly.
you never know how it's going to come back, but it's fun. It's like great. Like, I want to see people evolve and prosper and help them.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's and it goes back to is like, you know, we all want to be, you know, do what we love and be able to live off it, and you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
like, I
it
don't give a
helps
fuck about
you.
being fucking super rich.
Yeah.
I just want to be happy. I just want to do what makes me happy, and like that's because then it's like I'm not really working.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we're out going to like when I do shit with you, we're out going to like bars and clubs and shit. Like part of it. I'm just having fun, literally just having fun with my friends. Like it doesn't matter. I'm gonna be out there with my camera if I was getting paid or not. You know what I mean? So it's like I just want to do it. That's the shit that makes me happy. Like taking photos, documenting shit. You know, when you send the fucking photos to the people, you know what I mean? You know they get super excited about it. Like that's the shit that makes me happy for real. So it's like if you can monetize that and live off it, that's
even a benefit. It's like great.
Yeah.
It's like not only now like I'm doing something I love, which 50% of the people in the world don't get to do, but now you get to live off.
You have to live because I would, if I had to work a fucking 9 to 5 at fucking Costco or some shit like that, like I would still fucking want to go after work. You know, like when I grew up, I would do construction. I still got home, cleaned up, and fucking went on my BMX bike filming with my friends. You know what I mean? So it's like I just want to do it. It kind of bites you in the ass because you kind of sometimes will do too much without getting paid for it, and people do take advantage of that. So you have to like protect that. But
like he said, create what'd you say? Boundaries.
yeah,
Set boundaries. Yeah.
yeah. Set boundaries, and that's how you get rid of
Protect
that
your
problem.
energy.
Yeah.
So tell us about, let's tell us about how you like this big network you have now. So like you were a producer and you're working. Well, it's real too, because like even some of the shit that like I do and like even like the house, I'm like my first go-to thing. I'm like, let's get Diablo involved. You know what I mean? Like, because he has a big network, he hangs out with like, you know, the right people around here, and like he can make the shit that people want. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a content house, and he knows all those people, and like if we can do something together and like bring the right kind of people around, like that's gonna benefit everybody. You know what I
He
mean?
knows every nook and cranny of this house, right?
You know, used to live here. Yeah, how do you live here? Like,
Shout out Tana Mojo. Yeah, she you know, she lived in this house, and it's everything comes back full circle. It's like crazy. You know, she lived in this house, and I stayed here for a while with her, and it was cool. And that's my best friend, and it's just crazy because now I'm doing a podcast in like the room we all used to hang out with. So it's really cool. The network stuff, man. It's bigger than me. I don't know. I couldn't sit here and explain it
That's
to
a
you.
good network name. It's bigger than me.
yeah,
It's bigger
I like that.
yeah, yep.
It's dope. I don't know how a kid from Ecuador in a third world country got to be mentored by like Paris Hilton, by Diplo, and got to meet all these amazing actors and CEOs and tech industry players and billionaires. And you know, to me it's like I don't know what I'm doing with this info, but I'm connecting these people with other people in other industries, and you know, like one day it's just like something cool might happen. And I don't know why it happened, or you know, how to like why does a DJ need to know all these people, or a music producer? But it's cool, and I don't force any of it, and I just let it flow through me, you know, like the people that I connect, and it's like they might do something that might change the world for the better, and that's my goal, you know. It's like, you know, if I see someone that can collaborate with someone else and doesn't even have to involve me, and they could do something amazing, awesome, like let's go.
Yeah, exactly. You know, just
I mean, you created Paris Hilton's whole slib line. You didn't want to even take credit. You're like, wait, I didn't say that. So you're a good guy.
Swillington Manor, yeah, like
you got good intention.
I mean, that to me, even it to me, it's just like, whoa, like I got to experience how a billionaire creates a brand and does a branding from a perspective no one else could see behind the scenes, and that's a blessing in itself.
Is that your
And,
brand?
yeah, so Foolish Co is like it's my collective of just mixed media and artists, you know. I tatted on my face
shoes,
Foolish
right?
Co.
You guys did shoes a long time ago?
We did
Or am I tripping?
no, we did, let me think. We did beanies, Foolish beanies, we did shirts, we did a couple stuff, and it was just merch to promote it, and it was all for fun. And now it's a home for my students and my collective, and that brand. You know, it's really its own thing, building up to itself, and separate from Diablo. It's just like a home for my creativeness, you know. And then I have Inferno, which is a whole separate line. It's a clothing line, and it's a minimalistic clothing line, and you know, that has its own life, and it's really cool. And I haven't worn this shirt probably in a year, and I just saw it. I'm like, yeah, let's wear this shirt. And
okay, yeah, it makes sense. You should be wearing your shit to fucking get it out there. And I showed you his Instagram the other day, and that's who I was talking about. He is a designer, and he can, you know, does the merch
I mean,
stuff.
I'm wearing it top to bottom right now.
Yeah,
but
yeah. his brand, Peep Game, it's been around. You know, he's been doing this shit. Peep Game's
Like
been around
almost-
since BMX days for sure,
Yeah.
because we did. I
Well,
remember
I've been doing the clothing
but
for
the
like 8
clothing,
years.
the clothing came a little bit later. But like I said, like he can make anything, and that's I wanted to connect you guys. Same thing. Like I think, you know, he's someone that could probably help you a lot with the clothing stuff like that. So, you know, and for nothing, like I don't want, you know what I mean? Like that's just, you know, like it goes back to like just connecting people, and like I don't care about getting anything out of it. I just like, oh, you do clothing stuff. Oh, well, my homie's an amazing, you know, designer. He has a fucking fire ass clothing brand, and he can really make you anything. Like the stuff that he makes, he's making.
Yeah, if you don't have a plug to get shit made,
jeans and leather jackets and
anything.
fucking
It doesn't have to be
sunglasses,
this style
shoes.
stuff. It could
Yeah.
be those
Yeah,
type
yeah.
of pants, and
But
you know,
he can get like anything you're thinking of, like he can get it done for you for sure. And like that's what I was saying the other day. Like, you know, I know someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it's not- we
and
don't
to
just
me,
take
I'm like,
fees, you know?
that would be fire if it works out, because then like you're getting the shit, you're making your brand have some cool clothes, and you're selling shit, and I'm like, you know, that's gonna pay off. I'm helping my friend possibly get a designing job or working with someone, whatever it is. Like that to me is like, that's what
I
makes
also
me
like
happy.
just helping people out. So don't.
Yeah.
If you need my help, don't worry about texting me for help and me being like, wait, that's gonna be the, like I'm.
Yeah, no,
I'm
like,
not a
he will
gatekeeper.
do-
Whatever
yeah.
you,
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll
I'd
help
love to-
you. Like,
definitely
even
love
if
to
it's
check
just
stuff
like, oh,
out.
where do you get this done? Like, he'll
Yeah.
help you.
You've done a lot of shit, bro. For real.
Yeah, well, tell us what you do now. Because, like, like I said, I've been going out with you and filming stuff with you. Like, you're at all the clubs and bars, and you're throwing, like, parties in LA. You're just, like, DJ. And, like, I see, from my point of view, like, people fuck with you heavy. Like, people out here fuck you with heavy. You throw events and parties and stuff like that. And it's just, like, you see all the fucking, as corny as it sounds, but like people and like, you know what I mean? Like pulling up for real. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody really fucks with you and you're throwing amazing events. You get cool people there. You get the right people around and your whole network is great. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like I say, you know what I mean? Over and over again. I fucking hate myself sometimes. Like fucking, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I say, and you know what I mean? Over and over and over again.
I've been like this the whole time. Just watching, listening to you guys, so it's all good.
Man, what I'm doing nowadays is just going with the flow. I'm not forcing anything. I study history and I see what the greats before me did, like what was Skrillex doing and what was Diplo doing when dance music was its peak, what was David Guetta doing, what were these people that, paved the way for what I kind of want to go into that lane. And I'm like, there's not a lot of people in LA people are throwing events, but no one's documenting these events. No one other than maybe Boiler Room. And there's all these great artists and scene, like you said, the people in the scene, like actors, like it's like, why are we not capturing this content and history, this moment that will never happen again? And even though everybody has an iPhone, it's like, yeah, you're taking 10-second clips, but you're not capturing the room, the emotion, the sound, the set. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to empower other DJs, and I'm trying to have record other people's set and put it on YouTube. And I'm really trying to do what those before me did and see how I could even do it better with now the technology that we have,
Yeah.
Throw the Diablo twist on it. What they did.
Yeah. Everything's been done before. There's nothing, no one's like out here creating anything. Like everything's been done. We just can only take the blueprint of something and be ourselves with it, And
make it your own, put your own spin on it. And that all goes back to like when I was talking about having kids that I would have help me and do shit and come around.
Yeah.
And then like I see that they do some weird shit, but then like I kind of like take a step back from that. And then like I see they just will steal your whole formula, steal your whole swag, do exactly what you do. And like what I do, I feel like I got from someone else. And most of my shit comes from like doing BMX stuff. You know what I mean? Like the stuff I do now, I just kind of brought my BMX, what trained me to like what we did for videos and that, and I just bring it to what I'm doing now. It's the same thing. It basically we're making BMX videos and stuff, but we're like basically making vlogs before there were vlogs. You know what I mean? We're really just on that early. And
well, that's why he's got you documenting his sets now.
I mean, it's important. I really think it's important to document everything, even if you don't have to put it out either. Like you don't have to just put shit out just to put shit out. But like document it and save it if you need to. You never know. Like you might want to go back on that 10 years from now, or like 10 years from now when you're fucking bigger than Diplo ever was and shit like that. Like you go, oh cool. Well, remember I can go back and look at this footage when I was a lot younger and just started doing shit and.
Sell it to Netflix, man.
Yeah.
Make that
bag.
$50 million bag.
Dude, my boy is the one who made the Kanye one.
Really? I mean,
Cootie.
Yeah. Shout out Cootie.
Exactly.
Like,
I mean,
I couldn't believe when they said he made that. I was like, yo, good for Cootie, bro.
But for real, good for him. And like that's what me and Juice were doing. Like we wanted to make a documentary. And then that was it. We didn't have a plan. We didn't have a date. We were just like, we're just going to film. I'm like, we'll just film. I'm like, we'll film for the next 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
And like, then the Kanye documentary came out. I'm like, well, this is exactly what we were doing. You know what I mean? Like, I love that documentary because
I've seen it probably like 10, 20 times.
A lot of people didn't like it, but I couldn't believe it because Cootie used to tell us all the time, like about Kanye, be like, dude, you'd love Kanye because it was in Dame Dash's office.
Yeah.
and he would always talk about Kanye. And I didn't know they were that good friends. But then when I saw the documentary, I was like, this motherfucker filmed everything. I was like, that's so dope, dude. Like,
and have an artist that allows you to do that. And I feel like now a lot of artists are realizing that too. And
that's when the documentary is gonna get played. It's gonna,
but I mean, it doesn't matter. Even if you keep it for your personal memories, even like one day you just want to show your fucking grandkids. You know what I mean? Like some of the shit you did or whatever. Like, just going through photos and be like, oh, look at all these photos. You've seen all those photo books I have
at all times.
Yeah.
So I got the pleasure of meeting Kanye in Fashion Week last year through my friend Venetria, a super amazing model, and she's like, hey, pull up. Like, I'm like, cool. I pull up, and a lot of mutuals there, and my friend Daff, who does Siberia Hills, and a lot of cool people. And I got to model the Easy Shades,
oh shit,
the collab that he did, I think with
were you in that
Balenciaga video? I was in the activation shoot that they did in New York.
Oh, sick.
And I even got to plug them in with Ice Spice. Like, she's in the video. And it was just through texting, I think, Daff, and they ended up, however they ended up doing it, it was cool. I was just glad to be a part of it. Me and Ice Spice have the same manager. And I was like, yo, this is sick. I got to meet him, and he was one of the most genuinely nicest person I've ever met. And just seeing the creativity flow on how he organizes events and could turn a little nook warehouse into like to feel so special, and the music he was playing, and just being around all these creatives, and it was crazy. It was a big moment for me, and in fashion, I'm very into fashion, like I look up to people like Pharrell and Kanye, and Rick Rubin. And Rick Rubin doesn't do fashion, but it's like those are the type of people that I kind of align myself with spiritually, and also with tastes. I feel like we share similar tastes, and I feel like we do have this agreement that we can channel the universe to give us our muse, which is a pretty cool thing. And
you gotta have the vision for shit to pop up in your vision. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta see the shit beforehand. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer. If I don't do something, it's just gonna go to the next person.
You already put it in the system.
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
And I think that's it was really cool. He was a very cool guy, and shout out Kanye, man.
I've shot him a few times.
Yeah.
And
he followed me on Instagram for a really long time before till
you didn't have to change the thing to black. Your icon.
My thing was black. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it was crazy because even after I changed it, I'm like, he was watching my stories, and I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, and I felt so. I was like, this is the story he saw. Like, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
There was a point to even now to where I'm watching, like, I post stuff, and some stuff is. I'll post dumb stuff, and then I'll post important stuff, and then I'll see like the craziest people like see it, and I'm just like, okay, now social media is kind of funny like that, but just don't take it seriously, man. Just have fun with it.
You're also very elusive, so people are trying to watch and see. They're like, dude, there's nothing on this guy on the internet. I got to watch his story every day,
Yeah, I mean, it was cool, and it's a blessing, and a lot of people like it's. Every time, like, it's dope. I connect with new people all the time, like, it's great, man. And I love meeting people that have influenced me, and them actually being such a great person. They always say don't meet your idols, but every idol I have met, it was like great, like cool, like I actually learned something from this, Yeah,
Kanye was one of the best people. Quick interactions with him, but photographed, because he's obviously super media trained, a super huge artist, but he just knows. I'm like, can I shoot you? Boom, poses. All right, thanks. Turn around and walk away. You know what I mean? Like, and every time I've seen him, it's just been like that. I'm like, you mind if I get a shot? Boom, just pose. You know what I mean? Like, he just knows. He does his little pose or whatever he wants to do for me. Lets me get my 2 shots.
He's so tapped in. He might fuck around and know you, bro. Know who you are, for real.
I doubt it. But it's like, I'm not just like, thank you. I really appreciate it. And that's it. I just move on. You know what I mean? So I would have liked to obviously talk to him, but like I think I was at events, so there was no like personal time with him or anything like that. But like that's as a photographer what I like, because I want, first of all, permission to take a portrait of someone, because otherwise I feel like it doesn't count if I'm just like taking random photos of people near me. So like as long as they know and like give me like, yeah, okay, let me get my portrait and stuff like that. But yes, Kim too, same thing. Can I shoot you a photo? Boom, poses. All right, thank you so much. Boom, and just move on. That's it. And that, as a photographer, there's nothing better you can ask for. You know what I mean? So sometimes people are weird. Sometimes like they've been like, it doesn't happen often, but there've been weird artists. What is this for? What are you gonna do? You can put my photo in anything. I'm just like, I'm just a photographer, man. I just want.
I don't even want your photo at this point.
Then I'm like, actually, you know what, bro? I'm good. But it's like, to me, like
Just take it like this, like not pointing at them.
But like taking photos of them, it's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all. I just want to get everyone's portrait at some point. So it's like that's all it is. And like when you have someone professional and just gives you what you want real easy, and just it's no friction, and you just get it done and move on. And like he was one of the best people. I tell people that all the time, like one of the best people, because going up to random people. Sometimes they're just sometimes people are weird, but it's like,
or you just might catch them in the wrong day.
Yeah,
like,
sometimes you get people the wrong day, whatever. I get it. Sometimes it's like not right now. You're like, all right, cool, no worries. You know what I mean? Like, but that's just what it is, and it's good when you can meet people like that, people that are professional like that.
You're one of the first persons that introduced me to Juice, I think, and took like our first photo, and I think I was playing a festival or somewhere, maybe. Hard Festival or somewhere, and we were like, it was filmed.
Oh yeah, that was, I remember, that was the night we met. Diplo was there that night. I think that's when we met Doja Cat and stuff like that. Also, just want to throw this out there to anybody watching that this tattoo, I've had this tattoo.
Oh yeah, she's got the same tattoo as you.
God damn, she stole my tattoo. What the fuck is that?
Recently she got that tattoo?
Yeah, it was like recently.
It looks
the
good.
same watch she got on the back of the ear. And I'm
Doja
like,
Cat,
I'm convinced. I'm like, oh, she saw me somewhere and stole she stole that from me.
Yeah.
Shout out Doja Cat, because she looks good.
Yeah, I was like,
I like Doja Cat.
Because I was telling someone too, I'm like, no, the same tattoo. I'm like, this is a common tattoo, I get it, but then I'm like, I got it around my ear, and like, I don't think I see that very often. I've seen it before for sure. Like everything's, like I said, copied from somewhere. You see it, you get your inspiration.
Sometimes you forget where you get the inspo from too.
Yeah, of course, you just see it.
Not
and
like
then
Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton remembers who gives her inspo.
Man, she created the selfie. Like, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, that's a pioneer that people will never understand. Someone like, I look up to people like Kanye and Paris Hilton, because in 2,000 years, people would be like, this was a pivotal moment in history that they added. Like, the scientists that really changed dramatically life and everything, they were the craziest motherfucking people ever. But like, they were crazy, but look at the change that affected now. Like, now you see all the scientists and stuff, they're boring people. They're not like, I mean, Elon Musk is like, a little crazy, and he's a genius, and he's doing great stuff. And it's like, at the time, it's like people might think these people are crazy, but 1,000 years later, nobody's like remembering those little crazy things people did.
You think Elon Musk is crazy? He was on TV like 30 years ago. He's been an actor forever.
I don't think he's crazy. No, I think he's like eccentric.
Yeah. I think he knows what he's doing.
I think
he knows how to put on a show, and I think he knows what he's doing.
I'm Team Tesla, Team Earth, Team expanding from a planetary one to multi-planetary system and harnessing the power of the sun. And
are you gonna get the implant?
I'm down for whatever, man. Guys, I'm down.
I was teeter-tottering about him the whole time. Now I know. All right.
So tell me, I heard you talking about it before. You mentioned you're in a Discord server with Elon Musk's son, Ski Mask, and then who else? There was someone else. Oh, Post Malone, right?
Yeah, it's a top secret server, guys. It's crazy. Who brought my friend Eli Ozzy? Man, Eli's so cool. Like, we made a song together with Tara Reid, and everybody's in this Discord, man. Like, Scheme is in it. Like, all the homies, like, we're all just like nerding out. Like, we're just playing video games and living life. And it was just I didn't even know who half the people were in there. Like, I think Zilla Kami's in there, and I was just playing video games, and I was like, yo, this guy really sounds like sounds very familiar. And I was like, oh, this is Post Malone, and he's the most sweetest human being ever. And we've DM'd before, and then
Oh, you guys talk in Discord? Like,
yeah,
Asher
no,
and
we're
the mic?
like
Yeah.
streaming.
Oh, I don't know anything about
we're
Discord.
on Discord, like 8 people back and forth talking and all that jazz, and it was dope. And it's cool. I love connecting with people. I love organically meeting people through friends, and I never want to stop meeting people. I think that's the greatest, coolest thing about life is just meeting people. And you know, a lot of those people I've met in real life, and just randomly, like at like Little Huddy's party, and yeah, like Griffin like was there, and it was cool. And then he's like, oh, I'm in this server. I'm like, yo, those are all my homies. He's like, oh, I love this song. And it was a cool experience, and it's dope. And you know, now they're, you know, everybody does their own thing. Like, I think, you know, he's computer science, and probably, you know, it's change the world and make amazing, awesome things. And it's cool.
It's
and
a Change the World Discord server.
it's
That's
a,
what
yeah,
it is.
Post Malone's over here, like, you know, killing it in music, and Ski Mask is over here killing it, evolving. Like, I love seeing my friends evolve, and you know, we all go through things, and you know, he went through a lot, and he's
Yeah.
evolved a lot, and you know, like, I love seeing that, because it those are the people that I find very admirable, and the people that can go through the trauma and get back up and become stronger, you know?
Yeah, and that's something like me and Ski, like we connected. Like I've known Ski, like I knew him before I knew Juice, and I've done stuff. We went on a trip to Hawaii with him and stuff like that. But like,
Very
we
rare. Shout out, very rare.
really connected. You know what I mean? Because he went through the stuff with X, and he was friends with Juice, and like I went through the stuff with Juice and stuff like that. And like we really got really close after that stuff. Again, just because we can understand each other, and like, you know, maybe a little bit of a trauma bond, you know, but it's like we can understand the shit that we go through, and I understand when he's having his moments, and it's getting hard for him and shit like that, and like I just understand it, and like we really were able to connect and talk to each other and be like real as fuck. Like the people don't get that. Like, yeah, I hang out with, you know, whoever they are, but it's like, no, we really connect. Like I told, like me and Trippy, me and Ski, like we'll have like deep, real conversations. Juice had the realest shit. You know what I mean? Juice, in, you know, just a couple years that I knew him, became a better friend than I've ever had before in my life. And it's like, it doesn't matter the time frame, the age difference, how long, you know, there are just some people that are just real, and some people that you can just connect with better than you can connect to your own family with.
Oh yeah.
So
Family to me is who you choose. Is like like your friends are your family. Like,
yeah,
people that make you happy and uplift you. And yeah, like some of these people, like, you know, I've met people in my life that I was like, whoa, like, you know, this was awesome. This person was awesome. And that time we had together was awesome. And that time ends. And whether they pass away or they choose a different path of life, or you guys just disconnect, or it happens. So it's like the greatest thing is taking that time and being thankful for it and learning from it, and seeing now how you could apply that to a better future. And I think like that's really life, is just evolving, man. And
yeah,
taking these
you're always gonna
lessons
be
and-
evolving, and you're always gonna stay too. Like I see a lot of people that will get.
just be true to yourself when you evolve too. Like you don't have to, like, I'm not saying like just like, you know, go crazy, but like true to yourself, but evolve and learn, you know?
I think it's the only way to evolve, is being more true to yourself. I think you start out further from yourself than anything, because you're like, oh, maybe I have to be like this, maybe I have to be like that, and you're like kind of a weird version of yourself. Then as time goes on, you're like, fuck, that shit didn't work out for me. So you start liking yourself more, and, you know, becoming yourself more, and that's your final form, you know, or not your final form, but, you know, you're evolving. You keep evolving. I think
Yeah.
you got to be yourself and evolve and do all that shit. But yeah,
And then that's
Gotta
what
be yourself.
That's what honestly too, like evolving is like, that's what keeps you kind of like whatever you're doing, like relevant to what you're doing. It's like, if you think you know everything and you get to a point, and like if I was just like, wow, I photograph these really big artists, and I'm like, that doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean? Like I still hang out with the younger kids. I still hang out with artists that are coming up. It doesn't matter if you're a giant artist or a smaller artist. You got to stay, you got to stay relevant, and evolving means like, all right, music might have been different at one point, then SoundCloud came, you know, and you hear the people like, well, that's not real rap. I want to hear Tupac from, you know, 1992. Great.
The Lil Xan Tupac thing was hilarious.
You know, but that's great. Like, yeah, we all started with
it
that.
was crazy. It was retarded.
It was so crazy.
It was insane. Like
it was crazy to see Lil Xan and see him, and that's my brother, like, to the end of time, and we don't hang out much. Sorry, I don't know if I'm talking. That's my brother to the end of time, but we don't hang out a bunch now because, you know, he's in his own path, I'm in my own path, but that's my brother forever. But there was a point where this man was the Justin Bieber of, like, SoundCloud. Like, when I'm telling you, like, we could not go outside DTLA without, like, a mob of, like, kids running.
Yep.
Me, him, and Ethan Kokotsky one time just got in a Sprinter van, went to, like, Redlands, and we posted the address.
Oh, I remember that.
And it was just
crazy.
Literally, we're in the, like, the
Didn't they fine him like $100,000?
Huh?
Didn't they fine him like $100,000 or some shit?
Oh yeah, he did get into a lot of trouble for.
Who cares? It was so sick. It's like all these kids are out here for, like, just be like, yo, like, I was like, what in the, like, what's going on? And it was crazy, and it really, he's so talented, such a talented artist, and he just went through some stuff, and, you know, maybe, like, didn't have the right people around him, and, you know, a lot of the things is, and why I separate myself from kind of not just certain artists is because I notice, like, there's people around them that are gonna misguide them, and maybe it's not my journey to tell them, hey, this is not good for you. And because I have told certain artists, like, hey, like, maybe these people don't have your best interests at heart, and it could go the wrong way. They could interpret it the wrong way. Their team could interpret it the wrong way. And I've learned just to be like, you know, I just do my own thing, and they're going to hopefully figure it out, and they notice it. And with him, I mean, we made so much great music. He's such a great friend, and I've learned a lot of stuff seeing his struggles. And now, you know, he's back, you know, he's doing his thing. He's got a cult fan base. He will forever be known. He's, you know, and it sucks that when he did say something about Tupac as, like, a joke or something, it was really bad. Like,
I don't think anybody could have expected it to go as crazy as it went.
Yeah, and it was like, it was really bad, and, like, it's a joke. Like, anybody could have said that joke, and it was just the fact that he said it, and it was so new, like, this wave of music, that it was like, whoa. And it got really, you know, a lot of ups and downs from that. But I think, like, I got to learn, it's like, okay, like, I would never disrespect an OG before me. And
I think it taught a lot of the new kids that, like, all right, just leave it at that. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, it's like you can joke around, but it's like, you get, you know, I think it was a joke, and it just got out of hand.
Yeah, exactly. And people, you know, we all fucking just fuck around, just say fucking out of pocket shit all the time, just because that's just how we are. We just say we're just being funny or whatever. Like,
it was like breaking news.
It was like, it's insane.
And it was like, this is breaking news. I'm like, just come on, relax.
But you know, what people gotta understand is, like, all right, well, I know you love Tupac or whatever, but you're old now, and the next generation, the young kids are the next generation. You know what I mean? So, like, that's what is going to become what's popular, what's relevant, what everybody likes. You know what I mean? Like, no one, you know, we all...
hands an OG right now.
Like, well, now he is kind of an OG now. Yeah, for real. Dude. And, you know, he's had a like a rough journey too. And I just, you know, I think he's a great dude. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what, he's
super nice.
He's a great
guy.
kid. I've always liked him. Super nice. And, you know, just... people like to hate. People like to find someone to hate on, just for whatever reason. But it's like, those younger kids are the next generation. They're gonna be the OGs for real for the younger generation after them. So
Tupac's a joke now. I'm not a joke, but, like, kids after that were like, Tupac, I don't even want to look that shit up. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like a real thing. You know, like, it was like,
Tupac's a legend.
Yeah,
Tupac is a legend.
Yeah. I'm not shitting on him like that. Sorry, I don't want to.
They're coming after you next. Breaking news:
Tupac's
Steve-O
a
fucking hates Tupac.
I'm like 90 years old.
I think it's like you said, it's perspective. Like, to people in other countries, they don't even know who that is, and, you know, so it's very, like, it's perspective. And, like, to me, like, I'm trying to think, like, who's my Tupac? Like low-key, like, X was my Tupac, like how I see it, like because I got to not only meet him, but like the way he created music and the messages that he would
Yeah.
transmute through that, and talking about the power of your mind and how to break free of being in control and stuff, like that was a lot for me. And I looked up to him, and just like the same way all of these kids looked up to him, it's the same way that they'll defend them in 20 years.
Yeah.
Like if they hear like somebody say something about him, and it just,
I think X was a good thing for the kids. He always stuck his chest out, like he was, he's like,
Yeah.
I'm that guy, and he was also very emotional, and I think that was a good balance. I think he was more Tupac than Tupac, maybe.
Yeah.
I think everybody makes mistakes when you're young and you learn, and hopefully you get the chance to get to the age to learn. And
That's the thing, people in the cancel culture bullshit. It's like, people are gonna make mistakes and fuck up and do the wrong thing, but the only way they're gonna learn is by making mistakes. And like, it just depends on how you handle it. If you make a mistake, it's like, are you gonna fix it, or are you just gonna keep making those mistakes? And like, that's part of the journey. You know what I mean? People might do something fucked up, say something fucked up, whatever. But the only way, like, they're gonna get better is by just learning the
Failing is the
lesson
best
from
way.
whatever they did.
you gotta fail. Like, I love failing. I love to fail, because that's how I learn.
Yeah.
All
right, so we're going creeping
like,
up on 2 hours here.
yeah.
This went by really fast. So one last thing I wanted to ask you about is, being sober.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What made you want to go sober? What happened? Like, why? And how has it been?
Sobriety, to me, another journey. I'll keep it short. Like growing up as a kid in school, it's just like they were never like, yo, like, there's no alternate to anxiety and depression and all this stuff that every single person deals with. And it's in the perfect world, I would love for schools to be like, all right, here's an hour where we all meditate or talk about our issues and stuff like that. And so unfortunately, like in the time that I grew up, it's like everybody was turning to drug use and Xanax and self-made, anything, smoking weed, like whatever they could to not feel what they feel. And like everyone else, like I got caught up at one point, but I think that's the same journey as like you hit rock bottom, and if you survive, you get up, you come stronger. And to me, I don't push sobriety on people. I don't push any lifestyles on people except looking inward. And that 2-year break of everything, I went to hang out with my friend Dylan, such a smart guy, started a company called Glue, amazing, genius kid. They took me in, and I stayed at his house in Clearwater, Florida for 4 months, got out of LA. And I just was playing the ukulele and like surfing every day, and just really finding out, exploring my inner self. Like, yo, like, why did I drink? Like, why do I smoke? Like, why did I have anxiety? Why did I need to self-medicate? Like, what are these root causes? And then I was able to explore that. And I'm like, okay, cool. And now come back to LA. I'm like, I go out and I'm like, oh, like, I don't even like want to do anything. I'm naturally, I have the energy of a person on.
You're a spaz.
That's on like an 8-ball of cocaine. My brain from when I wake up to when I go to sleep is on some Jake Paul shit. Like, I don't know if you hung out with Jake Paul, you know what I'm talking about. Like, that guy is fully like wired, going on ideas. And I think some of us are just wired like that. Like, and it's a lot. It's a lot because if you don't get that energy out, it eats you up. And once I got back to LA, I was in full control. I was like, okay, like, I can be around other people and no one is influencing me. Like, 8 people could be like holding up alcohols, and I'm not like over there like itching my arm to drink or smoke. I'm like, no, because now I know it's like, I don't want that. I want to be present. I want to be aware. I want to be a good influence to my friends. And who knows? And like, when I like, whenever, like, I feel like, in 20 years or whatever, like, I might have a time where I start drinking wine again, or you never know. But right now in my journey, I like this. I like being present. I like not drinking. I like not vaping. I like not doing drugs. I like being aware. I like being a good influence to my friends that are in the age where I went through that stuff. I wish I saw someone that is in that industry and was doing it.
Yeah.
Man, when I told Diplo, I was like, yeah, I was like 2 years I haven't drank alcohol. He's like, man, I'm trying to get on your level. I was like, the fuck, man? Like, I'm trying to get on your level.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I see him, like, we're at a notch party and I'm DJing with like Zach B and Skrillex, and you know, Diplo came and it's like 2 a.m. and he pops out like a pack of 7 vitamins. He's like, man, I gotta take my vitamins. I'm like, bro, this guy's 42 years old, has abs, and just popped a bag full of 7 vitamins. I'm like, the first thing I did was write that down and ordered a ton of vitamins. And I'm like, you do stuff like that.
You did. We did that last week at the bar. You're like, oh shit. You like pulled it out. I took a picture of you. And
Yeah.
it's all your vitamins. Like, I forgot to take them earlier. Like,
And the picture's funny because it looks like I'm holding like a bunch of pills and they're all vitamins.
Yeah.
And it's just stuff like that. Like, I love to learn that, that stuff is just so cool to me. Like, I love ice baths. I love stuff that pushes the human limit to become to get that superpower we all have, you know, like, or a passion. And that's the coolest thing about, I think, life and the journey that I'm on right now.
that's good. That's good. I you know, same thing. I think it was for me, like when I smoke weed, I used to never think I'd be able to stop smoking weed. I used to never I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I started to, like, I need to take breaks. I was smoking for so long, smoking blunts. I was starting to get sick. I'm like, I need to take breaks. And after like a day, I was like, oh, this is easy. If I never wanted to smoke again, that'd be easy. I could never, like, I'd be fine if I never had to smoke again. Like, I every year I'll stop for like a month or two or whatever. Right now I'm on my sober kick too, and it's like I realized last year I stopped smoking for like 4 months. You know, in the drinking thing too, same thing. Like, you know, I like to go out with my friends. I like to get drunk. It's fun, but you know, I decided that I was like waking up the next day and feeling sick. I'm like, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna see how long I can go. I didn't drink for 7 years.
You're just borrowing happiness from the next days. I tell people that all the time.
Exactly. So I went 7 years for just no reason. Just like, I just want to take a break. I'm like, well, that was easy. And it kind of gives me the confidence to be like, I think I have enough willpower and strength if I needed to like quit anything and like not do that, to be able to do it without, you know what I mean? Like that's rare, because not a lot of people can do that. A lot of people have really bad struggles with it and need to go to rehab and need to like really work at it. So, I mean, that is definitely something I definitely feel blessed about. Like, if I never wanted to drink or smoke again, I could just, okay, fine, no problem. Not a big deal. And Steve, you don't drink anymore either, right?
Yeah, but I smoke a lot.
Oh, that's fine.
This is the first podcast I haven't
chill.
smoked because
He's probably fiending
we're
right now.
going sober. Yeah, I'm dying. But
And there's, you know, like, it's all in moderation. Like, fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Moderation. That's the thing too.
the thing is, you need to know that you're in control.
yes.
Like, once you know
Yes.
that you're in control, and not think, like, no, you need that core belief, know that, you know, that you're in control. And that's the point, you know, like, that you could do whatever and moderate, have fun, enjoy life. But, like, you know, like, don't let the things in life control you. You know, you always want to be in control.
Yeah.
You know, flow with the universe, but be in control of your own. You know, your body's a temple. It really is. Like, you know, what you put in it, what you listen to. We are sponges. Since we are born children, they are sponges. Like, we are sponges. We just learn. We're basically a fucking really smart parrot, bro.
Yeah.
That's what we are. I promise you. And it's just, you gotta be in control and
Yeah, it's important. It's important to be able to know you can control.
be aware. Just be aware.
Yeah,
And
self-aware.
our
That's the same
surroundings, of
thing.
your friends.
Yeah.
It's like, man, maybe take a step back and like see how from a third perspective this sounded or might affect people, and that's what helps me, you know.
Yeah,
You know?
that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad that, you know, you have that. I'm glad to hear that you're still sober, still doing it. You know what I mean? Like, that's impressive.
sober after going through that SoundCloud era is very commendable.
Yeah,
honestly.
Oh, for real. Especially
really,
a lot of the
like,
people that we were around.
I
And
don't
that's
know
a
you,
lot of
but I'm
stuff that
proud
we
of
went
you.
through.
I'm still on SoundCloud. I'm on every platform.
No,
but
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, the
It's like,
SoundCloud
yeah,
era,
yeah.
it's a thing. It's a
Well, that's big. Like, after Juice, you know what I mean? Like, I went crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I would fuck around and do perks. I drank lean, but I would do perks sometimes. After Juice, I got way bad. I got way worse than I ever was. I never bought perks before. You know what I mean? Then after Juice died, then I was out buying them. I was out buying them. I was getting fucked up. I couldn't. Then I'm like, you know, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like it's that was a personal, you know, journey that I had to go through myself. But it's like, you know, I had to like regain control of like what was going on in my life, because like I was letting that. I was just trying to mask everything and just fucking. I mean, honestly, let's just be real. I just wanted to die. You know what I mean? Like I was just hoping like it would just, I wouldn't wake up one day. I'd just do enough drugs and just get fucked up, and that would be it.
Yeah.
So it's like it is something like people can use to fucking try to fucking hide from what's going on in their life and just mask it. But it's like you're gonna have to deal.
It's
with
not
it.
a solution. It's like, you know, it's like having a sickness and you go to a hospital and they just want to treat it. It's not a permanent solution. You got to look within.
Yeah.
You got to find what is the root cause, and you're here for a reason. You know, you didn't die for a reason. I didn't die for a reason, and it's you know, those are blessings, and we don't look back at it. We look back at it as a very traumatic time in our life, and like not the happiest things, but it's like, man, like look at all these things I learned, and now how, you know, like how can I prevent certain things from happening or help the future of this world see like what I saw and influence them for greatness, you know?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think we've gone for like 2 hours now, so we should probably wrap it up. I made it through it. I was starting to get a migraine so bad, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, fuck, am I gonna be able to get through this thing right now? But
no, awesome, bro.
No,
Thank you guys
good.
for having
No,
me, man.
No,
Thank
thanks
you.
for coming.
Thank you.
You had me worried with the prep when right before we started, where you were like, "Yo, what are you guys gonna ask?" I was like, "I promise we're gonna ask some stuff, and we'll let you talk."
Yeah,
as
that's the
much as you
thing.
want,
Is like
you know?
we kind of just I'm like, no, we're just winging it. You're like, well, I'm like it'll be good. We just want to have real
It's hard to not go-
conversations, and wherever it goes, it goes. You know,
It's
so
hard to
love
not
that,
be on
man.
tangents, you know. So it's our 5th one, and I think this was a good one. I think
it's a really
the
good
kids
one.
are gonna get a
Yeah,
lot of
man.
knowledge out of that.
Yeah.
You're a very smart guy. I love it.
Yeah,
So,
thanks for having me. Check out, you know, Foolish Cult. Check out Inferno. Check out all Diablo music coming out. Shout out Chris Long. Shout out the homies. Check out his clothes.
homies.
You know, like a lot of cool stuff, man. And yeah, just, you know,
if you're in LA, Thursday nights, Barlise, Diablo has a event there every Thursday night. So and we're
Demon
there.
Nights.
Me and Jose are there. What else you got going on? Anything coming up or?
man, working on just putting out singles, new dance music,
Oh, the Ice
album
Spice single,
on the way.
right? The
Ice Spice remix we have out
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Just a lot of dope stuff, man. You just, you know, just keep your eye open and just come on this
watch the
journey.
stories.
Come on the journey, have fun.
Make sure you follow him on the gram and be up to date with what's going on, especially if you're in LA, because it's like, you know, some of the stuff too, like going to these bars and clubs, like not really personally my scene. You know what I mean? Like, but I have fun. When I'm with friends,
Chris Long has fun.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
he-
do.
he
I have
likes
fun.
One thing
deny
Chris
that
Long
shit.
is having fun. I'll be, we're after a long night of work. Chris Long is got the GoPro footage of me DJing and like for hours and shooting films of the whole event, whether it's a venue of 200 or a 2,000, and then we'll go to the after party where I'm DJing and I look over and Chris Long is just like having a great time dancing. Like I love that, man. I
know.
love it.
Like 2 people came up to me at the party we went to last week. We went to this house party, and I was like, you know, it was a big party, and they had DJs and stuff like that. And I was like all over the place. I was dancing. 2 people come up to me, they're like, "You're the littest person at this party, man." Like, what? I'm like, I'm completely sober. I'm like, I'm just having
Me
fun.
too.
Just
That
having fun
happens
with
to
the
me
friends,
all
you know
the
what I
time.
mean? Like,
people are like, "Yo, like," I'm like, dude, because I'm in tune with my natural like energy.
Yeah.
Like I'm genuinely having fun. I don't have to drink to socialize. I don't have to hold a battery with seed oil and smoke it to socialize. Like I'm truly present, or I try to be as much as possible, and I'm really enjoying. Like I enjoy what I do, and
Yeah.
I'm great being. And if I could leave off and end this with one message, is the key for me and a lot of successful people is practicing gratitude. Whether, you know, once a week, you know, I recommend once a day waking up, just write 10 things that you're grateful for. It changes your whole life. I promise you, man. And
You do that every day?
I try to. I try to do that every day, and every time I do it, and if I fall off and something isn't going right in life, it's because I am not being grateful. You know, like we could be in the worst places on earth, and you know, so many things, and we're so blessed. And it's, yeah, bad things happen, but amazing things happen too, but you forget because you're not grateful for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And so if anybody watching this out there, listening to this, is be grateful, practice the laws of the universe, and yeah, just just try to put out love.
Fire. Great podcast.
Thank you, man.
I really appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Oh, yeah. I love you,
for
bro.
coming, for real.
All right, thank you guys.